Chapter 3286. Duan Hun was completely dumbfounded. He never thought that the evil ancestor could erode Longao. But it was too late to regret. He was helpless. Forcefully using the power of the Soul Break Valley meant that he had lost his strongest trump card. If he wanted to continue using it, who knew how many years it would take? Under such circumstances, it was impossible for him to stop even if he wanted to. He could only watch as his strongest killing move was lost. But at this moment, Duan Hun didn't have the heart to feel heartache. He rushed out of the Soul Break Valley as fast as he could. The evil ancestor had eroded Longao. If there were no accidents, Longao should be right now. He didn't dare to imagine. Just as Longao had guessed, although Duan Hun was both good and evil, he was a friend worth befriending. But before Duan Hun could take action, Longao had already returned. In the blink of an eye. "Brother Long, are you okay?" At this moment, Longao's face was gloomy and as ugly as it could get. "Duan Hun, the evil ancestor has already eroded my body. I have to find a place to fight with him. Come with me quickly." Without waiting for Longao to finish his words, Duan Hun had already brought Longao back to the cave. Of course, Duan Hun knew that Longao's situation was very bad. It could be said that if he wasn't careful, Longao would fall into a state of eternal damnation. "You deal with the evil ancestor with all your strength. I will protect you. All right?" Longao didn't enter his chaotic dantian because he didn't know what would happen if he dealt with the evil ancestor. If his chaotic dantian collapsed, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. It was because of this that Longao was prepared to fight the evil ancestor in his own body in the Soul Break Valley. As for Duan Hun, Longao truly treated Duan Hun as a friend. Otherwise, he wouldn't have fought the evil ancestor to the death here. He knew better than anyone what it meant. This was the crucial moment. If Duan Hun were to launch a sneak attack at this moment, Longao would definitely die. Duan Hun was very grateful for Longao's trust. Duan Hun's character was very simple. It could be said that he didn't have many true friends in his life. However, once he became a friend of his, then he could use life and death to decide. Not daring to hesitate in the slightest, Longao immediately sat down on the ground and started fighting with the evil ancestor. Inside Longao's body, the evil ancestor's primordial spirit entered Longao's body and began to attack Longao's primordial spirit. In his opinion, Longao's body and primordial spirit were too suitable for him. The evil ancestor was confident that if he were to consume it now, he would be able to regain his Tao and become one of the top existences in the primal chaos realm. The evil ancestor did not place a person who had not even broken through the primal chaos reincarnation realm in his eyes. If he chose to give up so easily, it would be too late for regret. In the next second, Longao's primordial spirit had already started to counterattack. The two primordial spirits were very intense. Although Longao's strength was not to be underestimated, he was still in the primal chaos life and death realm. On the other hand, the evil ancestor was a genuine Tao affirmation warrior. The strength of his primordial spirit was far from what Longao could compare to. It was almost impossible to rely on Longao's strength to resist the evil ancestor's devouring. Moreover, Xianyuan Bubi's primordial spirit was not present. Before dealing with the evil ancestor, Longao had already thought that no matter what happened, he couldn't let anything happen to Sister Lin. Therefore, his master had to protect Sister Lin's primordial spirit. As long as his master was around, the evil ancestor would not dare to continue devouring Sister Lin's primordial spirit. There was no doubt about that. But now, the situation was different. Longao had his own trump card. Other than the 7 types of heavenly flames trapped in the primal chaos refining tower, he could mobilize the other 16 types of heavenly flames. But until now, he was still unable to use the power of the primal chaos flame. Just the 15 types of heavenly flames were already very terrifying. After all, heavenly flames were the nemesis of primordial spirit. Even the evil ancestor was no exception. Especially since the evil ancestor cultivated the Tao of evil, heavenly flames were the nemesis of the evil ancestor. Being besieged by the sudden appearance of 15 types of heavenly flames, the evil ancestor was shocked to the extreme. Of course, he knew what 15 types of heavenly flames meant. In the primal chaos realm, there were a total of 23 types of heavenly flames. Each type of heavenly flame was an incomparably heaven-defying existence. And there was a legend in the primal chaos realm that Tao affirmation warriors were unable to obtain heavenly flames. As for the reason, no one knew. As for others, not to mention obtaining 15 types of heavenly flames at the same time, even obtaining one type of heavenly flame was an existence with heaven-defying luck. It was precisely because of this. Looking at the 15 types of heavenly flames that appeared around him, the evil ancestor's face was very gloomy. He never thought that Longao would be able to obtain 15 types of heavenly flames. Not to mention how Longao subdued these heavenly flames, just this luck alone was enough to disdain the entire primal chaos realm. If he encountered other types of heavenly flames, the evil ancestor would not put them in his eyes at all. As long as he did not encounter a Tao affirmation warrior, he was confident that no one would be his opponent. But the situation with heavenly flames was completely different. After all, heavenly flames were the nemesis of primordial spirits. If it was an ordinary flame, it wouldn't be a big deal. Even if it was a strange flame, even if it was one type of strange flame or even 2 or 3 types of strange flame, it would be fine. But now, there were a total of 15 types of strange flame. Longao looked at the heavenly flames around him. Being able to temporarily force the evil ancestor to retreat, he also let out a long sigh of relief. Even he did not have any confidence to contend against the evil ancestor. Fortunately, there were 15 types of heavenly flames to help him. Longao, let me give you a piece of advice. It's best that you don't make any unnecessary resistance. Otherwise, after I devour your primordial spirit to be reborn, I will slaughter everyone who is related to you. If it was someone else, they might be afraid of this threat, but the evil ancestor was facing Longao. He just snorted coldly, looked at the evil ancestor's primordial spirit in front of him, and said coldly, "Evil ancestor, I also advise you to leave now and stay away from my family. If you do, I will not pursue this matter. Otherwise, I will make your primordial spirit vanish." Longao was not willing to fight to the death with the evil ancestor. After all, the evil ancestor's strength was there. Although he had the help of 15 types of heavenly flames, the current situation of the 15 types of heavenly flames was very troublesome. Whether they could kill the evil ancestor was still unknown. If he was unlucky, he would be devoured by the evil ancestor instead. "Ha ha, with just you?" The evil ancestor laughed crazily. His laughter was filled with endless ridicule. Hearing the other party's words, the evil ancestor seemed to have heard the funniest thing in the world. Longao did not speak. He was still staring coldly. As long as the evil ancestor attacked, he would not hesitate to attack. Chapter 3287. Looking at the 15 heavenly flames around him, the evil ancestor's face turned gloomy. Under such circumstances, even the evil ancestor didn't dare to casually make a move. If something went wrong, forget about devouring Longao's primordial spirit, it was unknown if he could leave alive. He felt helpless. From the beginning to the end, the evil ancestor didn't put the other party in his eyes. But now, because of the 15 heavenly flames, he didn't dare to make a move rashly. Both sides were in a stalemate. "Are you afraid?" Hearing Longao's words, the evil ancestor's face turned ugly. Provocation. A blatant provocation. However, under such provocation, even the evil ancestor couldn't do anything. Even if he wanted to leave now, it wouldn't be easy. Who knew if Longao would be ambushed by Longao? Longao, our grudges are written off. I don't want Song Lin, how about it? He stared at the 15 heavenly flames around him. In the end, the evil ancestor still chose to compromise because he knew very well that even if he could win this time, it would be a partial victory and he might even lose his life. It wasn't worth it. There were countless people in the chaotic realm. There was no need to take the risk at this time. As for dealing with Longao, it didn't mean that it wouldn't work in the future. If he could be reborn and succeed in validating his Tao, dealing with Longao would be a piece of cake. How could Longao not know the evil ancestor's intention? Letting the tiger return to the mountain would cause endless trouble. In the beginning, he didn't want to fight to the death with the evil ancestor. But now, he changed his mind. If the evil ancestor was really reborn and succeeded in validating his Tao, the consequences would be unimaginable. Only by cutting the weeds and eliminating the roots could he prevent future troubles. The evil ancestor wasn't a fool. How could he not know Longao's intention? He instantly flew into a rage and stared at Longao in front of him. He said angrily, Longao, don't think that you can fight against this evil ancestor just because you have 15 heavenly flames. Today, I will let you see how big the gap between chaotic reincarnation and Tao validation is. Just as he finished speaking, a terrifying aura suddenly erupted from the evil ancestor's body. It seemed like the evil ancestor was going to go all out. With the chaos tree protecting his essence soul, Longao was not afraid of dying at all. If the evil ancestor was at his peak, he might be able to do it. But now it was almost impossible. He sneered. Without waiting for Longao to speak, the 15 deviant fires had already taken the initiative to attack the evil ancestor. A great battle was about to break out. In the blink of an eye, the 15 types of heavenly flames began to collide with the evil ancestor. Heavenly flames were the nemesis of the evil ancestor. Especially when the 15 types of heavenly flames joined forces, they were actually able to withstand the evil ancestor's attack. This was the reason why they were nemeses. If the evil ancestor had been Evil Moon instead, even if Evil Moon's strength wasn't as strong as the evil ancestor's, the 15 mystical flames wouldn't have been able to withstand Evil Moon's attack. However, once the mystical flames recovered to their peak, even if a few mystical flames joined forces, they wouldn't have been a match for a primal chaos samsara martialist. The evil ancestor was very sullen. He could neither advance nor retreat. He was in a dilemma. On a mountain peak far away from the Soul Break Valley, Song Lin asked worriedly, Senior, I wonder how Brother Long is now? Ever since she knew the truth, Song Lin was constantly worried. She finally knew that it was all because of her that Brother Long had to face the seed of primal chaos without hesitation. That was a martialist that had proven his Tao. His strength represented everything. What if something happened to Brother Long? Song Lin didn't dare to continue thinking about it, because she didn't dare to imagine what she would do if something happened to Brother Long. However, there was one thing that she was sure of. If anything happened to Brother Long, she wouldn't be able to live alone. Xianyuan Bubi sighed deeply. There was no need to say more about the evil ancestor's strength. He said helplessly, Ao only has a 50% chance of winning. However, you don't have to worry too much. Ao has the help of the 15 types of heavenly flames. It's impossible for the evil ancestor to devour Ao's primordial spirit. When Xianyuan Bubi knew that Longao had subdued 16 types of heavenly flames, he was so shocked that he couldn't speak. Among them, there was even the primal chaos flame that was ranked first. Of course, he knew what it meant. Not only that, others might not know, but how could he not know? His disciple's luck wasn't ordinary. Not only did he obtain 16 types of heavenly flames, but he also obtained the remaining 7 types. Although the 7 types of heavenly flames were sealed in the primal chaos refining pagoda, they would definitely be subdued by Ao, once he opened the primal chaos refining pagoda. What kind of concept was that? At that time, Ao would be the first person to obtain all 23 types of heavenly flames. As for what would happen, no one knew. Master, how should we help Brother Long now? Helping was an extravagant hope, because they couldn't even lock onto the location of Brother Long and the evil ancestor. How could they help? Xianyuan Bubi shook his head helplessly and said, "If you really want Ao's good, then you don't have to do anything now." How could Song Lin not know what Xianyuan Bubi meant? Although she was now a chaotic life and death martialist, she couldn't interfere in a battle of this level. If she forcefully helped, not only would she not help Brother Long, she might even drag him down. She was helpless. Everything was because of her. She felt guilty and blamed herself. If she hadn't merged with the primal chaos seed, nothing would have happened. However, how many people in the entire chaotic world could resist the temptation of the primal chaos seed? It was complete nonsense. No matter how worried Song Lin was, since Xianyuan Bubi had said so, she could only suppress her worry. No matter what, she couldn't drag Brother Long down. Xianyuan Bubi had already left Song Lin's body and was looking at the endless void in the distance. He had already decided that if something really happened to Ao, he would perish together with the evil ancestor even if he had to fight to the death. The remnant soul of a Dao-confirming martialist was extremely terrifying, especially when some Dao-confirming martialists had heaven-defying secret technique. For example, the evil ancestor. If it weren't for the secret technique, how could he have preserved his soul while condensing the primal chaos seed? This was simply impossible for other Dao-confirming martialists. Even Xianyuan Bubi's soul had already disappeared when he condensed the primal chaos seed. However, because of the primal chaos tree, Xianyuan Bubi had managed to preserve a trace of his soul. In the end, it was luck. If Xianyuan Bubi hadn't met Longao, how could he have preserved his soul? Chapter 3288. Longao and the evil ancestor were in a stalemate, neither of them able to do anything to the other. The most frustrated one was the evil ancestor. He did not care about Longao at all. But right now, he could not do anything to the other party at all. He was helpless. However, the evil ancestor heaved a sigh of relief instead. If this were to carry on, it would be beneficial for him. As long as the other party could not do anything to him, he believed that the other party would not stop him from leaving. As though he could guess the thoughts of the evil ancestor, Longao said coldly, "Evil ancestor, do you think that you can still leave this place? With just you?" The evil ancestor's face was filled with mockery. How could a mere chaotic life and death martial artist injure him? That was **T. The evil ancestor was clear in his heart. If the other party did not have 15 types of strange flames, that would be the key. If not, it would be an easy task for him to devour the other party. He could do it in a matter of minutes. Whether or not I have the rights, you'll find out soon enough. What did that mean? Looking at Longao before him, the evil ancestor did not know why, but his heart skipped a beat. Could the other party truly have something to rely on? If that were the case, it was better to be safe than sorry. If the other party truly had a way to deal with him, he would not even have the chance to regret it. However, the evil ancestor still did not believe that the other party could destroy him. Unless it was a Dao-proving martial artist who came personally, or if it was the power gathered in the valley earlier on, how else could the other party do it? With just 15 types of strange flames? It was completely impossible. Ha 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 ha. At the thought of this, the evil ancestor burst out laughing maniacally. His laughter was filled with endless mockery and disdain. In the next second, a ball of flame appeared in Longao's hands. It was a pure black flame that gave off an extremely horrifying aura. Sensing the strong aura of the strange flames in Longao's hands, the evil ancestor was stunned, his face filled with disbelief. Yet another strange flame? To think that Longao would have more than 15 types of strange flames. The evil ancestor had not expected that the other party would have a 16th type of strange flame. This sort of luck was way too heaven-defying. If the evil ancestor were to know that not only did Longao have 16 types of strange flames, he even had the Chaos Flame Smelting Flame Tower with 7 other types of strange flames, what kind of concept was that? Of course, the evil ancestor knew that one of the 15 heavenly flames that Longao had just obtained was ranked second among the 23 heavenly flames. But now? The evil ancestor could clearly sense that the new heavenly flame in Longao's hand was far stronger than the other heavenly flames. His face was filled with disbelief. Could it be? The evil ancestor seemed to have thought of something. If the aura was above the second type of heavenly flame, then the heavenly flame in Longao's hand should be the legendary heavenly flame that was ranked first among the 23 types of heavenly flames, the primal chaos flame. He cursed in his heart. Longao's luck was simply too good. Not only did he obtain 16 types of mystical flames, but he also obtained the primal chaos flame, which was ranked first among them. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. The flame of primordial chaos was a legendary existence. If he was at his peak, he wouldn't be afraid of the flame of primordial chaos. But now, the situation was completely different. After all, the heavenly flame was the nemesis of the primordial spirit, not to mention the flame of primordial chaos, which was ranked first. What should he do? The evil ancestor finally knew why Longao was so confident. It turned out that he was relying on the flame of primordial chaos in his hand. Taking a deep breath, the evil ancestor stared at Longao and said coldly, "Longao, your Tsonglin is fine. There is no need to fight to the death between us. I will leave now. From today onwards, I will not seek revenge from you or your family." How about that? What did the evil ancestor mean? Obviously, he had chosen to compromise. After all, not only did the other party have 15 types of mystical flames, he also had the flame of primordial chaos, which was ranked first. If he wasn't careful, he would be devoured by the mystical flame. At that time, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret. Ha ha ha, are you afraid? Longao obviously knew that the flame of primordial chaos that he had now was unable to truly destroy the evil ancestor. It was just to scare the evil ancestor. If he could control the flame of primordial chaos, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. It was easy to think about, but it was easier said than done to truly control it. Longao, don't go too far. I'm going too far? Evil ancestor, have you lost your mind? You were the one who chose Tsong Lin. I warned you before not to touch Sister Lin. How did you do it? Now that you're afraid, do you think we can just forget about it? Then what do you want? The more Lin Fan acted like this, the less confident the evil ancestor felt because the flame of primordial chaos in Lin Fan's hand was too terrifying. Even if he could destroy Lin Fan in the end, he would probably be destroyed by the mystical flame. He absolutely did not want to see such a situation where both sides suffered. The only way was to leave this place as soon as possible. It's very simple. As long as you agree to 3 of my conditions, I will let you go. How about it? Tell me. The evil ancestor's face was as ugly as it could be because he knew very well that the 3 conditions that Longao had proposed would definitely be very difficult to fulfill. However, since things had already come to this, even if the evil ancestor was extremely unwilling, he could only listen to the other party's conditions first. In fact, the evil ancestor knew very well that even if Lin Fan had the flame of primordial chaos, due to the absolute gap between their realms, it was impossible to be absolutely safe. Even so, unless it was absolutely necessary, he still did not want to die together with Lin Fan. He was porcelain while Lin Fan was trash. Lin Fan definitely did not fear him, but his situation was different. He had cultivated for countless years and finally reached the Tao-confirming realm. If he chose to give up so easily, he was really unwilling. The first condition. You just said that if I let you go, you must swear a Tao confirming oath that you will not trouble me or my family in the future. He breathed a sigh of relief, but he was still furious. Let him go? If it wasn't for the flame of primordial chaos in Lin Fan's hand, he would have already devoured him. However, he suppressed the anger in his heart and said, "No problem, I can promise you." Once a Tao confirming oath was made, even a Tao confirming cultivator could not change it. However, in the evil ancestor's opinion, he did not care about the life and death of Longao and his family. As long as he could find a suitable physique, he would be reborn and restore his Tao confirming realm strength. That was what he wanted to do. It was precisely because of this that the evil ancestor agreed without even thinking about it. The second condition. You must protect my sect for 10,000 years. You're going too far. Chapter 3289. For the evil ancestor, this was an utter humiliation. As a mighty martial artist who had verified his Tao, even if he was an essence spirit being, he could not accept such humiliation. Protect him for 10,000 years. Time meant nothing to him. It was just that he could not afford to lose this person. The face of the evil ancestor was extremely grim right now, looking as terrible as it could get. Even though he had already guessed that Longao would definitely make an outrageous request, he had not expected that Longao would make such an outrageous request. What should he do? Should he strike out forcefully? Even if he could kill Longao, so what? The evil ancestor would definitely not want to be involved in something that would cost him 1,000 lives. He bore with the rage in his heart. Before Longao could reply, the evil ancestor spoke up. State your third condition. The evil ancestor wanted to know what Longao's third condition was as well. If the second condition was already so outrageous, the third condition would definitely be even more outrageous than the second one. Longao chuckled out. He could not care less about the thoughts of the evil ancestor. Evil ancestor, my third condition is simple. Your essence spirit can leave, but the chaos seed has to stay. You're courting death. Not to mention the first and second conditions, just the third condition alone was something that he could not agree to. That was **T. The evil ancestor knew clearly what it meant to hand over the chaos seed. If he were to hand over the chaos seed, even if he could find a suitable body to be reborn in the future, he would not be able to verify his Tao successfully. After all, losing the chaos seed meant that he had already given up on the chance to verify his Tao. Giving up on his Tao and giving up on the chaos seed? Was that something that could happen? Ha! Ha 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 ha! Ha 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 ha! All of a sudden, the evil ancestor burst out laughing maniacally. Initially, he had already chosen to compromise. After all, there was no way he could just die together with the other party. But right now, even if he wanted to compromise, the other party would not let him off so easily. If he had not witnessed this for himself, he would not have believed it. To think that someone would dare to go against an essence spirit who had verified his Tao. Courting death. Evil ancestor, let me give you a word of advice. You only have a single chance. If you miss it, the only thing that awaits you is to be devoured by the deviant flame. The evil ancestor, who was prepared to strike, forcefully suppressed his rage and killing intent the moment he heard the words deviant flame. How could they not fear heavenly flames? Moreover, among the 16 types of heavenly flames, there was actually the primal chaos flame that was ranked first. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. Was he going to compromise just like that? He was very unwilling to accept this. Of the 3 conditions, other than the first one, the other 2 were impossible to agree to. Longao? Without waiting for the evil ancestor to speak, Longao had already guessed the evil ancestor's intention. He sneered and said coldly, "Evil ancestor, you must agree to all 3 conditions. Otherwise, even if I have to suffer serious injuries, I will destroy you. Longao was exaggerating a bit. Even if he had 16 types of deviant flames, he would still lose his life if he wanted to destroy the evil ancestor. But since things had already come to this, he had no other choice. Letting the tiger return to the mountain would only lead to endless trouble. Longao, that's enough. You don't have to bluff here. If you had full confidence in destroying me, you wouldn't be here to talk about conditions with me. Longao's heart skipped a beat, but he still maintained a calm expression. He sneered and said, "Evil ancestor, as a Tao affirmation cultivator, I wonder if you have heard of the Cloud Ancestor." Cloud Ancestor? Ordinary cultivators definitely wouldn't recognize the Cloud Ancestor, but that didn't mean that the evil ancestor didn't know him. Not only did he know him, but he was also an old friend. It was precisely because of this that the evil ancestor couldn't figure out why Longao would mention the Cloud Ancestor for no reason. Could it be that Longao knew the Cloud Ancestor? It was a nonsensical thing. Evil ancestor, if I bring you to Cloud Valley and the Cloud Ancestor discovers your primordial spirit, I wonder what will happen to you. Longao smiled but didn't say anything. Suddenly, an idea popped up in his mind. It was the Cloud Ancestor of Cloud Valley. He couldn't destroy the evil ancestor, but that didn't mean that other Tao affirmation cultivators couldn't. After all, the Cloud Ancestor was a genuine Tao affirmation cultivator. Not to mention the current evil ancestor, who was just a primordial spirit existence. Even if the evil ancestor was at his peak, he might not be able to defeat the Cloud Ancestor. Longao wasn't willing to do this unless it was absolutely necessary. After all, the chaos seed of the evil ancestor was there. Once it was devoured, then whether it was him or the person who devoured the chaos seed, it was very likely that they would succeed in Tao affirmation and become a powerful Tao affirmation cultivator. Longao had already thought about it. If it really came down to it, then even if he had to give up the chaos seed of the evil ancestor, he would still bring the evil ancestor to Cloud Valley. When the time came, the Cloud Ancestor would deal with the evil ancestor. The evil ancestor wasn't sure if what Longao said was true or false. As the saying goes, it's better to be safe than sorry. If Longao really knew the Cloud Ancestor and his whereabouts were discovered by the Cloud Ancestor, then the consequences would be obvious. Evil ancestor, if you don't believe me, I can take you to Cloud Valley now. Of course, the evil ancestor knew that Cloud Valley was the cultivation ground of the Cloud Ancestor. Not only him, but probably everyone in the entire chaotic realm knew about it. Because of this, the evil ancestor believed Longao's words. The evil ancestor was really afraid of the heavenly flame and the deterrence of the Cloud Ancestor. He stared at Longao and finally chose to compromise. He said, "Longao, I can't agree to the third condition, but..." He didn't give the evil ancestor any chance to continue. Longao, of course, could guess what the evil ancestor was thinking. He sneered and said coldly, "Evil ancestor, I have given you 3 conditions, not one less. I have given you a chance, you must grasp it." Longao finally heaved a sigh of relief. Because of the deterrence of the Cloud Ancestor, the evil ancestor was really afraid. However, after thinking about it, he believed that not to mention the Cloud Ancestor, any random Tao vindication cultivator would be able to intimidate the evil ancestor. After all, with the strength of a Tao vindication cultivator, they could easily destroy the evil ancestor's primordial spirit, including the chaos seed. If a Tao vindication cultivator could devour the evil ancestor's primordial spirit, then everyone knew what it meant. The evil ancestor didn't say anything more. His expression changed again and again. In this situation, there were only 2 paths to take. One was to perish together with the other party, and the other was to compromise. Once he chose to agree, not only would he lose face, but he would also lose the chaos seed. At that time, even if he was reborn, he wouldn't be able to reach Tao vindication. Longao didn't urge him. If the evil ancestor could really agree to his 3 conditions, then the evil ancestor's primordial spirit would no longer be a threat to him. For him, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Chapter 3290. The evil ancestor's face grew darker and darker. To him, this was simply a humiliation, an enormous humiliation. Just as Longao was waiting for the evil ancestor to speak, the situation suddenly changed. The evil ancestor's face suddenly turned cold, and he began to attack Longao crazily. He could almost say that although Longao had grasped the number 1 primal chaos flame, he had not truly grasped it. If Longao had truly grasped the primal chaos flame, why would he talk nonsense with him? As for the Cloud Ancestor, it would be a lie to say that he was not afraid of the Cloud Ancestor. However, the evil ancestor knew that as long as he could end the battle quickly and kill Longao in the shortest time, Longao would not have the chance to step into Cloud Valley. It was precisely because of this. The evil ancestor was finally prepared to take the risk. But in the end, the evil ancestor was still full of confidence. If Longao was not a chaotic life and death cultivator, but a chaotic reincarnation cultivator, then it would be a different concept. There was not the slightest bit of surprise. Longao seemed to have guessed that the evil ancestor would be like this. He sneered, and without saying anything, the 15 types of strange flames began to attack wildly. As for the primal chaos flame, it was not that Longao did not want to use it to deal with the evil ancestor, but he was powerless. Just as the evil ancestor had guessed, the current Longao was unable to truly grasp the primal chaos flame, which was also what Longao felt the most helpless about. Otherwise, he would not have wasted words with the evil ancestor, and directly used the primal chaos flame to deal with the evil ancestor. According to the Heaven You Devil Flame, among the 23 types of strange flames in the Chaos Realm, the number 1 primal chaos flame was the most terrifying. Even if the 22 types of strange flames were added together, they would not be a match for the primal chaos flame. What kind of concept was this? Just as the evil ancestor was crazily attacking Longao, and the 15 types of strange flames began to retreat. The 9 Chaos Divine Beasts were the 9-headed Snakelet Divine Beast, the Juin Divine Beast, the Pishio Divine Beast, the Chunyo Divine Beast, the Swanee Divine Beast, the Sky-Splitting Divine Beast, the Golden Enai Divine Beast, the 9-headed Dragon Python, the Tautai Divine Beast, and the Sky-Devouring Divine Beast. The Chaos Divine Beast diagram released a terrifying power, and with the 9 great Chaos Divine Beasts joining forces, one could imagine its power. Even the evil ancestor jumped in fright. The evil ancestor seemed to have thought of something as he felt the Chaos Divine Beast diagram and the 9 Chaos Divine Beasts' terrifying power. Chaos Divine Beast diagram? 9 Chaos Divine Beasts. Whether it was the Chaos Divine Beast diagram or the 9 Chaos Divine Beasts, they were treasures that could only be found by chance. The evil ancestor couldn't figure it out. How did Longao do it? This kind of luck was a little too heaven-defying. Putting aside the Chaos Spiritual Beast drawing, not everyone could gather the 9 Chaos Spiritual Beasts. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it. Feeling the terrifying power enveloping him, the evil ancestor did not dare to rashly meet force with force. He could only continue to retreat. But what was the result? Longao returned and closed in on the evil ancestor step by step, as if he was prepared to completely destroy him. Courting death, the evil ancestor was completely enraged. He had never imagined that his opponent would choose to take the initiative to attack. His nascent divinity fused with the Chaos Seed and unleashed the might of a Tao corroboration expert. It began to clash with the power released by Longao. Boom, boom, boom. Thankfully, Longao's body had already fused with his Chaos Dantian. Otherwise, his body would definitely not be able to take this collision alone. At the thought of this, even Long Ao could not help but feel a lingering fear. This wasn't the way to go on. Ha! Long Ao, your luck is pretty good indeed. But you can't gather the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts. Good, good, good. The evil ancestor's face was filled with endless greed. Be it the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, the 9 Chaos Divine Beasts, or the 16 Deviant Flames, they were all utmost treasures of the world. If he could get his hands on all of them, once he reincarnated and succeeded in his Tao corroboration, these utmost treasures would be like adding wings to a tiger. How could he not be greedy? The evil ancestor knew that even though Long Ao possessed these utmost treasures, he could not truly control them. With that, his chances of killing the other party would be much higher. He did not hesitate any longer. Since he was going to kill the other party anyway, he could not afford to delay any longer. After all, under such circumstances, the longer he dragged things out, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. He was not afraid of Long Ao. Rather, he was wary of the Cloud Ancestor. If Long Ao were to really bring him into Cloud Valley, he could imagine what that would mean. He must definitely not enter Cloud Valley. Otherwise, he might not even be able to leave Cloud Valley alive, let alone kill Long Ao. The evil ancestor did not hesitate any longer. His earlier wariness was all gone. There was only a single thought in his mind, and that was to kill Long Ao in the shortest time possible. How could Long Ao not know what the evil ancestor was thinking? This was also the key to life and death. It could be said that this was a moment of life and death. If he was not careful, he would probably fall into a state of eternal damnation. He could not afford to be careless. Long Ao's attacks also began to become fiercer. However, the absolute difference in cultivation level made it impossible for Long Ao to take the initiative. Under such circumstances, Long Ao would be killed by the evil ancestor in less than 300 moves. One had to admit that the primordial spirit realm was indeed very powerful. Not to mention Long Ao, even an ordinary primordial spirit realm martial artist would not be a match for a primordial spirit realm martial artist. Only a primordial spirit realm martial artist at the level of Evil Moon could hope to defeat the evil ancestor's primordial spirit. Except for Long Ao, there were very few people who knew about the evil ancestor's primordial spirit. As the battle continued to escalate, Long Ao's expression became more and more solemn. If this continued, it was obvious what would happen. With a cold gaze, Long Ao defended against the frenzied attacks of the evil ancestor, while saying coldly, "Evil ancestor, you asked for this. You can't blame me." Hearing Long Ao's words, the evil ancestor's heart skipped a beat. A bad feeling rose in his heart. What was wrong with him? The other party had already used up all his killing move. As for the strength of the other party, the evil ancestor could not be bothered about it at all. This was just a mere primordial spirit realm martial artist. If not for the 9 primordial spirit beasts and the 16 types of deviant flames, the other party would have long been destroyed by him. Ha! Ha 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 ha! Ha 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 ha! Laughing maniacally, his laughter was filled with endless mockery and disdain. The evil ancestor laughed maniacally. Long Ao, show me what you've got. Your evil ancestor wants to see what else you've got. Ha! Ha 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 ha! The evil ancestor did not believe that Long Ao had any killing move. In his heart, the more the other party acted this way, the more confidence he had. Seemed like Long Ao truly did not have any killing moves left. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been forced into such a tight corner. The more he thought about it, the more excited he got. Chapter 3291. Long Ao immediately turned around and sprinted away. Trying to leave? The evil ancestor scoffed coldly. Looking at how Long Ao turned around and left, the evil ancestor was elated and chased after him. Swoosh! Swoosh! In the blink of an eye, Long Ao had already entered the Dantian. Without even thinking, The evil ancestor followed him in. The moment he stepped into the chaotic dantian, Longao's laughter rang out. "You're not running anymore? Why should I run?" Longao stood where he was silently and looked at the evil ancestor. He had done everything on purpose. Only by doing so could he successfully lure the evil ancestor into the chaotic dantian. In the chaotic dantian, he was the master. However, Longao was clear that if he were to come up, the evil ancestor might not fall for his trap. This time around, he was going to face the evil ancestor's essence spirit alone. Longao had already discussed with Xianyuan Bubi that the only way to deal with the evil ancestor was to rely on the chaotic dantian. Other than that, there was no other way. Looking at the smiling Longao, the evil ancestor did not know why, but he had a bad feeling in his heart. "You're courting death." Not willing to continue with the nonsense, he sprinted towards Longao. Before he even arrived, his horrifying attack had already arrived. But the outcome? Longao merely waved his hand gently and the evil ancestor's body was sent flying. He was completely dumbfounded. The evil ancestor's face was filled with shock and disbelief. To think that he could not even defend against a single move from the other party. Was this for real? This was definitely not real. Definitely not real. Longao, before he was done, the evil ancestor seemed to have thought of something as he glared at the chaotic dantian around him and said coldly, "There's a problem with your dantian." Since things had already come to this, Longao did not continue hiding it as he chuckled, "Evil ancestor, you're unlucky. My dantian has already fused with the chaotic palace and formed a chaotic dantian." He ignored the evil ancestor's grim face. "Within my chaotic dantian, I'm the master." Tricked. This was a lie. The evil ancestor already knew that he had fallen into the other party's trap. How could he not be furious? It was no wonder that the other party had been trying to provoke him. It turned out that he had been prepared for this. However, this situation was very unfavorable for him. The lesson from before had already explained everything. In this so-called chaotic dantian, the other party was the ruler. He was no match for the other party. He suppressed the anger in his heart. "Longao, what do you want?" The evil ancestor knew that now that things had come to this, whether he lived or died was no longer up to him. On the other hand, Longao did not feel any joy in his heart because he had previously discussed with his master. Although the primordial chaos dantian could deal with the evil ancestor, once the evil ancestor's primordial spirit self-destructed, even Longao himself did not know whether the primordial chaos dantian would be damaged or not. How could he not be worried? Because of this, Longao said, "Evil ancestor, I will give you two choices." The evil ancestor didn't say anything, but his face became more and more gloomy and ugly. "The first choice is to deprive you of the primordial chaos seed and destroy your primordial spirit." Without any surprise, the evil ancestor had already guessed it. Previously, he had used a secret technique with great difficulty to not only condense the primordial chaos seed, but also preserve his primordial spirit. If he died like this, he would be a little unwilling. The evil ancestor did not speak because he was very curious. He did not know what Longao meant. Why did he not directly destroy him under such circumstances? Could there be something fishy? "The second condition is that I will let you be reborn in the future, but you must choose to submit to me." Impossible. Without even thinking, the evil ancestor directly rejected. It was a complete joke. As a dignified Tao-confirming martial artist, it would be a disgrace if he chose to submit to a small primordial chaos life and death warrior. How could he choose to agree to such a thing? "Longao, you should know that although you are the ruler here, with this evil ancestor's strength, once I choose to self-destruct my primordial spirit and primordial chaos seed, even your primordial chaos dantian might not be able to withstand it." The evil ancestor did not continue speaking, but the meaning in his words was very clear. The evil ancestor was very clear that as long as the other party was not stupid, he believed that he would be able to understand his meaning. Longao smiled and said, "Evil ancestor, you are right. As for whether my primordial chaos Dantian can withstand your primordial spirit's self-destruction, even I do not have full confidence." The evil ancestor never thought that Longao would say such a thing. Since that was the case, before the evil ancestor could speak, Longao continued, "Evil ancestor, although I do not have the confidence to withstand your primordial spirit's self-destruction, I have a kind of supreme treasure of heaven and earth that can protect my life." As he spoke, Longao had already arrived beside the primordial chaos tree. Looking at the evil ancestor in front of him, he asked, "I wonder if the evil ancestor recognizes this item?" The evil ancestor stared fixedly at the small tree beside Longao. For a moment the evil ancestor did not know. However, in the next second, the evil ancestor felt the huge vitality emitted from the small tree. The evil ancestor's expression changed as he shouted in shock, "This is the primordial chaos tree, the number one divine item in the primordial chaos realm." Of course, the evil ancestor knew what the primordial chaos tree meant. As the number one divine item in the primordial chaos realm, the primordial chaos tree was only a legend for countless years. No one had seen the primordial chaos tree before. It was because of this that the evil ancestor never thought that the legendary number one divine item in the primordial chaos realm would be in Longao's primordial chaos Dantian. How was this possible? First, it was the primordial chaos divine beast diagram and the 9 primordial chaos divine beasts. Then, it was the 16 types of heavenly flames, including the number 1 heavenly flame, the primordial chaos flame. Now, it was the primordial chaos tree. Wasn't Longao's luck a little too perverse? The evil ancestor finally knew why Longao was so fearless. It turned out that he had the primordial chaos tree. As long as he had the primordial chaos tree, even if the evil ancestor self-destructed, he would only be able to severely injure the other party. It would be impossible for him to perish together with Longao. At this moment, the evil ancestor did not have any confidence at all. He was helpless. No matter who he faced, he had never been like this. Only when he faced this person with heaven-defying luck, he could only say that his luck was bad. "Longao, can you give me a chance? I will definitely return this favor to you in the future." Return? If Longao believed him, then his brain would be flooded with water. He shook his head and said with a smile, "Evil ancestor, I have already said that I will give you 2 choices. It's up to you to choose." What a joke. He had the protection of the primordial chaos tree. Even if the evil ancestor chose to self-destruct and severely injure his primordial chaos Dantian, he would not die. However, if he could completely subdue the evil ancestor, it would be a pleasant surprise for him. After all, once the evil ancestor was reborn, the probability of reaching the Tao validation realm was 99%. In other words, he would have a Tao validation realm cultivator protecting him in the future. Chapter 3292. Evil Ancestor's face became gloomier and gloomier. In the end, Evil Ancestor sighed deeply and said helplessly, "You win." Hearing Evil Ancestor's answer, Longao's face was instantly filled with joy because Evil Ancestor's meaning was very clear. He had agreed to submit to him. Of course, Longao wouldn't easily choose to believe him. He smiled and didn't say anything. Evil Ancestor wasn't a fool. How could he not know what Longao meant? Even if he was unwilling in his heart, things had already come to this, and he couldn't change anything. In helplessness, Evil Ancestor could only swear a Tao affirmation oath and choose to submit to Longao. Once a Tao affirmation oath was made, it couldn't be changed. Master. Evil Ancestor was extremely unwilling to call him Master, but after thinking about it, he was relieved. Evil Ancestor was a dignified Tao affirmation martial artist. Even if it was only a remnant of his primordial spirit, his pride was there. Only at this moment did Longao truly heave a sigh of relief. After all, without the threat of Evil Ancestor, a big problem for him and his family was solved. "You don't have to call me master, young master." With a helpless look, Longao didn't continue to argue about this title and said, "Evil Ancestor, I want to ask you now, what are your chances of successfully rebirth and Tao affirmation?" This was what Longao was really concerned about. No matter what, Evil Ancestor was still a Tao affirmation martial artist. However, the current situation was a bit special. Evil Ancestor only had a remnant of his primordial spirit. Fortunately, there was the primordial spirit. Otherwise, Evil Ancestor would be completely finished. How could Evil Ancestor not know Longao's meaning? However, since he had already chosen to submit, he didn't have the arrogance from before. He said indifferently, "Back then, I used a secret technique to condense the primordial spirit while retaining my primordial spirit. But if I want to be reborn and succeed in Tao affirmation..." Looking at Evil Ancestor's sigh, Longao of course knew what Evil Ancestor meant. He was helpless. It seemed that the chances weren't high. "Young master, if you can find a suitable physique, the chances of success are less than 30%. So that was the case. Longao was completely depressed. The other party previously said that he was full of confidence. He didn't even have a 30% chance. "Evil Ancestor, is something the matter?" Longao looked at Evil Ancestor and kept looking at the chaos tree not far away. He seemed to have guessed something. "Young master, under normal circumstances, I only have a 30% chance of being reborn and achieving Tao. But now, with the help of the chaos tree, I have a 70% chance." After thinking about it, Longao figured out the reason. As expected of the number one divine object in the chaos realm, he could actually help the Evil Ancestor, increasing the chance of success from 30% to 70%. What kind of concept was that? Thinking of this, Longao smiled and said, "Evil Ancestor, from now on, I will do my best to help you rebirth and successfully prove your Tao." "Thank you, young master. You can just stay by the chaos tree and cultivate in the future." The Evil Ancestor was overjoyed. Of course, he knew what the chaos tree meant. Right now, he only existed as a primordial spirit. If he could cultivate beside the chaos tree, that would be the best thing. Just as Longao was about to leave, "Young master, I have something to tell you. Please speak." Longao was curious. He didn't know what the Evil Ancestor wanted to say. But as a Tao-proving warrior, the Evil Ancestor knew that it must be something important. "I wonder how much young master knows about the chaos tree." Not much. Not much indeed. Because Longao only knew that the chaos tree was the number one divine object in the chaos realm and had a terrifying life force. Other than that, he didn't know anything else about the chaos tree. The Evil Ancestor didn't tease at all because the chaos tree was always a legend in the chaos realm. Very few people knew what the chaos tree was. "Young master, according to the rumors, not only is the chaos tree the number one divine object in the chaos realm, it can even bear chaos fruit." Hearing the words chaos fruit, Longao's heart skipped a beat. "Evil Ancestor, what's the use of the chaos fruit?" Intuition told Longao that the so-called chaos fruit was definitely not simple. No matter what, the value of the chaos tree was there. As the number one divine object in the chaos realm, it was obvious what it meant to be able to bear fruit. As expected, the Evil Ancestor said enviously, "It is said that the chaos fruit borne by the chaos tree is the supreme treasure in the entire chaos realm. If one is lucky enough to eat one..." "How is it?" Longao couldn't wait to ask. If the primal chaos fruit could help him attain his Tao, then this would be great news for him. As though he could guess what Longao was thinking, the Evil Ancestor said with a smile, "Young master, The chaos fruit can't help a chaos warrior prove his Tao. Hearing this, Longao was more or less disappointed. After all, the thing he wanted to see the most now was that he could successfully prove his Tao. In that case, he would truly be standing at the peak of martial arts. In the future, no one would be able to harm his family. Although the chaos fruit can't help a chaos warrior prove his Tao, it is very useful. It is said that the chaos fruit can only be born by the chaos tree. Longao was completely depressed. After talking for a long time, the evil ancestor still didn't get to the main point. The more it was so, the more curious he was. Looking at the expression on the evil ancestor's face, the chaos fruit born by the chaos tree must be extraordinary. However, Longao didn't say much because he knew very well that the evil ancestor wouldn't play any tricks with him now. After all, he had already chosen to submit to him. As long as he wanted to, he could kill the evil ancestor at any time. If someone can eat the chaos fruit, not only can it strengthen the soul, it can also extend the person's life indefinitely. Although it's not immortal, it's not far from it. Most importantly, evil ancestor, if you have something to say, just say it. Even Longao couldn't help but feel a little annoyed. The evil ancestor kept him in suspense again and again. The evil ancestor seemed to know that he was being shameless. He smiled and said awkwardly, "Young master, there is something you don't know. The chaos fruit is really too heaven-defying. Everything else is fine, but the life force it contains is too strong. Even if it can't be compared to the chaos tree, it is still no small matter. Once consumed, no matter how serious the injury in the future is, as long as it isn't a true death, one can use the huge life force in the body to recover. So that's how it is. If that's the case, the chaos fruit is really heaven-defying. As the evil ancestor said, even if the chaos fruit wasn't as good as the chaos tree, it was still very good for a chaos warrior. When will the chaos tree bear fruit? I don't know. Maybe 10 years, maybe 100 years, maybe 100 million years. How much can it bear at once? This was what Longao was most concerned about. Chapter 3293. If the chaos tree could only bear one chaos fruit, it would be useless. With his current strength and the help of the chaos dantian and the chaos tree, it was useless whether he consumed the chaos fruit or not. He seemed to be able to guess what Longao was thinking. The evil ancestor smiled and said, "Young master, the number of chaos fruits that the chaos tree can bear depends on luck." Luck was like that. Longao already knew what the evil ancestor meant. If he was lucky, every time the chaos tree bore fruit, it could bear hundreds of chaos fruits. If he was unlucky, it was unknown if he could bear one chaos fruit, let alone hundreds of chaos fruits. He did not continue to dwell on it. Just as the evil ancestor said, it was still unknown when the chaos tree would bear fruit. It was too early to think about it. They returned smoothly. The moment she saw Longao, Song Lin could no longer hold it in and hugged Longao and began to cry. It would be a lie to say that she was not worried in such a situation. Longao naturally knew Sister Lin's worries and hugged her gently and patted her shoulder. An hour later, "Ao, you really subdued the evil ancestor?" He nodded. Longao did not hide anything from his master and Song Lin. He recounted everything that had happened in detail. After listening to Longao's story, the two of them sighed endlessly. If Ao's luck was not good, the outcome of this battle would be unknown. No matter what, being able to subdue the evil ancestor this time is a good gain for you. How could Longao not know what his master meant? Although the evil ancestor was only an essence spirit, he was a Tao validation warrior after all. If he could be reborn and successfully validate his Tao in the future, it would be equivalent to having another Tao validation helper. What kind of concept was that? How could he not be excited? How could he not be excited? Even now, with the evil ancestor's strength, He was not afraid of Evil Moon. In other words, from now on, no one in the entire chaotic realm would be able to threaten him unless it was a Tao-proving realm cultivator who personally made a move. It was still the same sentence. If he was alone, he would not be afraid even if he faced a Tao validation warrior. At most, he would hide in the Chaos Dantian. However, he was not alone. There was Sister Lin and the rest, as well as his family. But now, the situation was different. It was impossible for a Tao vindication martial artist to casually descend. Other than that, even if Evil Moon came, with the evil ancestor holding the fort, he didn't have to be afraid. Thinking of this, Longao laughed. Inside the chaotic Dantian, when the evil ancestor heard Xianyuan Bubi's words, he sighed helplessly. Longao was indeed not a simple person to be able to become a disciple of a Tao-confirming martialist. He was a Tao-confirming cultivator himself. Of course, he knew the arrogance and vision of a Tao-confirming cultivator. How could an ordinary person be accepted as a disciple by a Tao-confirming cultivator? It would be a lie if he said that he did not regret it. However, it was too late for regrets now. He had already chosen to submit. Once he regretted it, Longao would kill him without hesitation. If he had exited Longao's body earlier, he would not have been afraid even if Xianyuan Bubi, a Tao vindication warrior, was behind Longao. But now, the situation was completely different. He had already chosen to submit, and his life was already in the hands of Longao. Xianyuan Bubi, your injuries are so serious, it seems. Waving his hand, Xianyuan Bubi said indifferently, with a disciple like Ao, even if this old man dies, it's worth it. The only thing that Xianyuan Bubi could not let go of was Gu Hao. After all, it was his most capable disciple who had harmed him. Until now, Xianyuan Bubi was still unwilling to accept this fact. Back then, he had treated Gu Hao as his own son and did his best to help Gu Hao break through to the Tao-confirming realm. In the end, he never thought that Gu Hao would sneak attack him. If not for the primal chaos tree, he believed that he would have already fallen. Although he was unwilling, Xianyuan Bubi knew very well that this disciple of his would definitely avenge him in the future. You and I are both Tao-confirming cultivators. Sigh, I never thought that you and I would fall to such a state. Fate makes fools of us. Xianyuan Bubi smiled and said, with Ao-er's help, it's not impossible for you to be reborn in the future and reconfirm your Tao. The evil ancestor nodded. How could he not see Xianyuan Bubi's situation? In this life, Xianyuan Bubi would definitely not be able to succeed in proving his Tao. Whether he could be reborn or not was unknown. Master, evil ancestor, the two of you will have the chance to be reborn and prove your Tao in the future. Evil ancestor, there's no need to say anything. As for you, Master, if there's no way to help you be reborn in the future, I'll use the primal chaos tree to help you. Hearing Longao's words, both the evil ancestor and Xianyuan Bubi were completely stunned. Of course, they knew what the primal chaos tree meant. The two of them never thought that Longao would be willing to take out such a divine item. Xianyuan Bubi was clearly a little emotional. He said helplessly, Ao, Master, it's not worth it. Although the evil ancestor did not say anything, the expression on his face said everything. Sacrificing the primal chaos tree for a person who could not be reborn or even prove his Tao was not worth it. Longao shook his head and said with a smile, a master for a day is a father for life. With that, Longao left the primal chaos Dantian. Xianyuan Bubi was very emotional, but the evil ancestor was very envious. Such a disciple, no matter who it was, even if it was a Tao-proving warrior, they would not be able to get it. After leaving the primal chaos Dantian, Longao clenched his fists tightly. Now that he had settled the evil ancestor's matter, he would use all his strength to find the remaining 3 treasures, the reincarnation fruit, the underworld water, and a primal chaos reincarnation divine beast's beast core. As for the problem of his master, he still could not solve it. However, Longao had already decided that if he could not help his master be reborn in the end, he would help his master be reborn even if he had to sacrifice the primal chaos tree. In his heart, the primal chaos tree was incomparable to his master. It was not a concept of whether it was worth it or not. As for the remaining 3 treasures, Longao thought about it and decided to hunt a primal chaos divine beast's beast core first. With his current strength, strange flame, primal chaos divine beast, and the evil ancestor's power, it would be easy to kill a primal chaos divine beast's beast core. However, looking at the entire primal chaos realm, there were very few primal chaos divine beasts. Even if he had the strength to hunt one, it would depend on whether he had the luck. However, Longao was not very worried about this problem. After all, he already had 9 primal chaos divine beasts. Others might not know, but it did not mean that the 9 primal chaos divine beasts did not know. Boss, you want to hunt a primal chaos divine beast. Chapter 3294. What was the meaning of this? Longao knew that there must be something fishy going on for Blackie and the others to say something like this. Blackie, what's going on? Blackie sighed deeply and replied helplessly, Boss, the 9 of us are Chaos God beasts at the end of the day. We can be considered as the rulers of the Chaos God beasts race. That's why. Even though Blackie did not finish his sentence, the meaning of his words was clear. How could Longao not know about this? He was helpless. He had not thought of this level at all. The 9 of them were Chaos God beasts, the rulers of the Chaos God beasts race. He knew what it meant to hunt down the Chaos God beasts. Lin Fan sighed deeply in his heart. However, he could not do without any of the 6 treasures. If he could not hunt down the Chaos God beasts and obtain their cores, his cultivation state would never be able to break through to the Chaos reincarnation state. It would be unrealistic to say that he would give up. Longao did not want to say anything more. He could not possibly hurt the 9 Chaos God beasts for his sake. As for why their boss wanted to hunt down the Chaos God beasts, how could the 9 Chaos God beasts not know? All of them looked at each other and saw the helplessness in each other's eyes. Boss, I know of a place where there's a Chaos God beast. But it's an evil one. Tao Tai's meaning was clear. Longao smiled and nodded his head. Where? The place that Tao Tai was referring to was a secluded place in the Chaos world. It was a nameless valley. Longao's expression finally became a little warmer as he stared intently at the valley in front of him. This was because he could clearly sense that there was definitely a primal chaos reincarnation divine beast guarding the valley in front of him. Boss, you don't have to take on this chaos god beast personally. The 9 of us can do it. Regarding the meaning of the Taotai divine beast's words, Longao naturally knew and nodded his head to express his agreement. In the next second 9 chaos god beasts. Heaven-devouring God Beast, Jiaoying God Beast, Zhuyin God Beast, Pisho God Beast, Chionyo God Beast, Taotai God Beast, Heaven-Splitter God Beast, Golden Ho God Beast, 9-headed Dragon Python God Beast, and Taotai God Beast. All of them headed towards the valley before them. Soon, all 9 Chaos God Beasts disappeared from the valley. And everything happened in less than a few minutes. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. He watched as the 9 figures appeared outside the valley. Boom, boom. Although the 9 divine beasts of chaos had yet to break through the chaos reincarnation realm, they were only one step away. If they joined forces, it wouldn't be difficult for them to kill the chaos reincarnation divine beast. That was how terrifying the 9 divine beasts of chaos were. Boom! If the 9 divine beasts of chaos were to recover their peak strength, once they joined forces, no one in the entire chaotic realm would be able to contend against the 9 divine beasts of chaos, except for martial artists who had proven their Tao. Of course. On. Of. The most important thing now was to find a way to lock onto the exact location of their treasures. Boom! Upon hearing Xianyuan Bubi's words, the evil ancestor's face was filled with shock. Even if he was beaten to death, he would never have thought that Longao would have cultivated out the chaotic saint body. What sort of a concept was that? He knew clearly what the chaotic saint body was. Even though the chaotic saint body was known as the number one body in the chaotic world, there were pros and cons to it. While the chaotic saint body might be useful in proving one's Tao, before that, it would be a huge hindrance to one's cultivation. You're prepared to let Longao find all 6 treasures? Of course, the evil ancestor knew everything that Xianyuan Bubi knew. And it was because of that he knew how difficult it would be to find all 6 treasures to solve the problem of the chaotic saint body. Aoer has already obtained 4 treasures. As for the reincarnation fruit and netherworld water, it's up to him to find them. Xianyuan Bubi was clear that be it the reincarnation fruit or the netherworld water, they were treasures that could only be found by chance. If one was lucky, they could find them in a couple of days. If not, they might not even be able to locate them even after hundreds of millions of years. How could the evil ancestor not know what Xianyuan Bubi meant? Trying to find the whereabouts of the 2 treasures in a sea of people was like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Is there no other way? The evil ancestor sighed deeply. The evil ancestor said helplessly, "You're also a Tao-proving warrior. Of course, you know what the chaotic saint body means. If Aoer didn't get the chaotic tree, I wouldn't have told him this." Among the 6 treasures, the chaotic tree was the most difficult to obtain. After all, the chaotic tree was the number 1 divine object in the chaotic world. For countless years, no one had obtained it. Perhaps Longao was the first. The evil ancestor's expression changed, as if he thought of something. He said, "Xianyuan, you just said that the young master has already obtained 4 treasures. Besides the netherworld water and the reincarnation fruit, does that mean that he has already obtained the Tao-proving seed?" The evil ancestor knew very well what the Tao verification seed meant. It was something condensed from the fall of a Tao verification warrior. It was impossible for a Tao verification warrior to fall. Xianyuan Bubi had been killed by a sneak attack from his own disciple, while the evil ancestor had been surrounded and killed by several Tao verification warriors. If that was the case, where would Longao find the so-called Tao-proving seed? It was hard to believe, and his face was full of disbelief. Seeing that Xianyuan Bubi didn't say anything, the evil ancestor had already guessed that the Tao-proving seed that Longao obtained was condensed by Xianyuan Bubi. The evil ancestor already knew that the reason why Xianyuan Bubi was able to condense the Tao-proving seed and preserve his primordial spirit was all because of the chaotic tree. Otherwise, Xianyuan Bubi would have died long ago. How could he have waited until now? It was complete nonsense. If I were you, I wouldn't be able to do it. He asked himself, if he was in Xianyuan Bubi's shoes, would he be able to do it? There was no doubt about it because the Tao-proving seed meant a lot to a Tao-proving warrior. Once Xianyuan Bubi lost the Tao-proving seed, even if he could be reborn in the future, it would be impossible for him to prove his Tao. However, Xianyuan Bubi still took out his Tao-proving seed to help the young master. For the evil ancestor, this seemed to be a great shock. Before this, if someone told him this, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. But now it really happened, and it was right in front of his eyes. Xianyuan Bubi smiled and said, "It doesn't matter whether I prove my Tao or not. What matters is that I can help Aoer." Chapter 3295. The Evil Ancestor Sighed. This kind of thing was simply inconceivable. Even now, he was unwilling to hand over his Tao-confirming seed. It could be said that the Tao-confirming seed was simply too important for a Tao-confirming warrior. After successfully obtaining the beast core of the Chaos Reincarnation Beast, Longao did not hesitate at all and immediately began to search for the two treasures that were born, the so-called Netherwater and Reincarnation Fruit. Ha ha, Longao, you've finally appeared. Just as Longao was searching for the remaining two treasures, a crazy laughter suddenly came from the 9 heavens. The laughter was filled with endless ridicule and contempt. He snorted coldly. He looked at Evil Moon coldly. In the next second, the figure of the evil ancestor appeared beside Longao. He looked at the evil ancestor coldly and said, "A small chaos reincarnation martial artist dares to be arrogant here." Evil Moon, who was originally mocking, suddenly looked at the essence spirit that appeared beside Longao and his face changed abruptly. Tao confirming essence spirit? This was Tao confirming essence spirit? Evil Moon was completely stunned, because he never thought that there would actually be a primordial spirit realm cultivator who had reached the Tao realm by Longao's side. As a chaos reincarnation martial artist, Evil Moon of course knew what Tao confirming essence spirit meant. In his current situation, if he could devour Tao confirming essence spirit, he knew what it meant. If it was a Tao confirming warrior at his peak, he would definitely not be a match for him. But the situation now was different. The other party was just a Tao confirming essence spirit, so he could definitely devour a Tao confirming martial god. Thinking of this, Evil Moon was even more surprised. Very excited. Very excited. How could Longao not know what Evil Moon was thinking? However, Evil Moon had still underestimated the strength of an essence spirit. Longao, I didn't expect that you would give me such a big gift. Not bad, not bad. If I can devour a Tao confirming essence spirit, then I can definitely confirm my Tao. Ha 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 ha. Thinking that he could use the Tao confirming essence spirit to confirm his Tao, Evil Moon could not help but be surprised. With just you? Before Evil Moon could react, the evil ancestor took a step forward and instantly arrived in front of Evil Moon and began to attack wildly. End the battle quickly. Of course, Longao would not give Evil Moon any chance. The moment the evil ancestor attacked, Longao also attacked quickly. With the two of them working together, it should not be difficult to kill Evil Moon. Evil Moon, who was originally full of confidence, only realized how terrifying the strength of a primordial soul realm cultivator was when he really attacked. He was very shocked. But at this moment, Nangong-in, Master God Diviner, Wutian-mo, and Judas, the 4 Chaos Reincarnation Warriors, appeared at the same time. 2 against 5. Longao finally knew why Evil Moon was so confident. It seemed that it was almost impossible to defeat the 5 of them. Evil Ancestor, let's go. Evil Ancestor was also helpless. If it was a one-on-one fight, he wouldn't be afraid of any one of them. It was just that it was a little difficult for him to fight against the joint forces of 5 Chaos Reincarnation experts. Without even thinking, the evil ancestor and Longao disappeared from where they were. Senior, why didn't you trap Longao? Not to mention Evil Moon, even the other 4 had already sensed that the primordial soul they had just dealt with was the primordial soul of a Tao affirmation expert. They were very shocked. The 4 of them also knew what it meant to be able to devour a Tao affirmation primordial soul. So what if I can lock onto him? If I can't destroy the Chaos Palace, I still can't deal with Longao. Longao was the most depressed person because as a super existence closest to a Tao affirmation expert, he couldn't even deal with a Longao. If it was before, he wouldn't be afraid of Longao at all because in his opinion, Longao was just a coward who dared to hide in the Chaos Palace and didn't dare to come out. But now, the situation was completely different. Longao actually had such a powerful Tao affirmation primordial soul realm cultivator by his side. This time, if it weren't for Wutian-mo and the others, he believed that even he wouldn't be able to defeat the 2 of them alone. Now that he thought about it, he was terrified. The most important thing now was to join forces with Wutianmo and the others to kill Longao as soon as possible and devour his Tao affirmation primordial soul realm cultivator. Otherwise, if he didn't remove the roots when cutting the grass, it would grow again. Then what should we do now? Think of a way to break through the Chaos Palace. Ever since Longao had subdued the evil ancestor, he had left the Soul Break Valley. Duan Hun was also sighing. Although he was somewhat unwilling in his heart, he didn't say much. Duan Hun was very clear that if Longao could subdue the evil ancestor, Longao would be able to do whatever he wanted in the world in the future. Returning to the Chaos Dantian, the evil ancestor's face was very gloomy. Facing 5 Chaos Reincarnation Realm cultivators, he had chosen to avoid them. For him, this was a humiliation, a great humiliation. Looking at the evil ancestor, Longao naturally knew what the evil ancestor was thinking. However, he didn't know what to say. After all, the evil ancestor could indeed do whatever he wanted in a one-on-one fight. But facing 5 Chaos Reincarnation Realm cultivators at the same time, even with the evil ancestor's strength, he couldn't contend against them. Especially among the 5 of them, Evil Moon's strength was infinitely close to the Tao affirmation realm. As for the evil ancestor and Evil Moon fighting one-on-one, it was still unknown who would win. However, Longao wouldn't let the evil ancestor take the risk. If it was before, whether the evil ancestor lived or died had nothing to do with him. But now, the situation was different. The evil ancestor had chosen to submit to him. The evil ancestor was very important to him. Furthermore, Longao had already treated the evil ancestor as one of his own. Aor, what's going on? Xianyuan Bubi had a bad premonition when he saw the expression on the evil ancestor's face. Apart from Longao, no one else could sense what was happening outside the chaotic Dantian. Not even the evil ancestor or Xianyuan Bubi could do so. Xianyuan Bubi was very clear about the evil ancestor's strength. Dealing with ordinary Chaos Reincarnation Realm cultivators was a piece of cake. But now, the evil ancestor's expression was so unsightly that it was obvious what had happened. Longao didn't hide anything and gave a rough account of what had just happened. After listening, Xianyuan Bubi nodded and said, "Evil ancestor, I know you're not convinced. However, you have to know that you're no longer the same as before. Even with Aor's help, you won't be a match for 5 Chaos Reincarnation Realm cultivators. I know. It's just that back then, he was merely an ant-like existence in my eyes. But now..." Evil Ancestor didn't continue speaking, because he suddenly thought of something. His young master, Longao, seemed to be only at primal chaos life and death realm, yet he had chosen to submit. Shaking his head helplessly, the evil ancestor said, "Young master, if you want to kill the 5 of them, you have to defeat them one by one." Chapter 3296. Kill them one by one? Longao naturally knew what the evil ancestor meant. It was almost impossible to kill 4 people and 1 beast at the same time unless his cultivation base could return to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. However, if he wanted to recover his primal chaos reincarnation realm, he still lacked 2 treasures, the nether water and the reincarnation fruit. The only thing he could do now was to kill them one by one. With his and the evil ancestor's combined strength, it was more than enough to deal with the other 4 except for Evil Moon. Thinking of this, Longao smiled. Xianyuan Bubi smiled. Even the gloomy evil ancestor also laughed. Longao had been observing the movements of the 5 people in his primal chaos Dantian. As long as the 5 of them separated, it would be the best time for him to make a move. Wait. If it was before, it was impossible for the 5 of them to be together anytime and anywhere. However, after this incident, the 5 of them seemed to feel that things were troublesome. Moreover, they had already decided that they would absolutely not separate before they killed Longao. For the 5 of them, this was definitely a huge humiliation. However, under such circumstances, even if it was a humiliation, so what? It was very depressing. If they wanted to kill Longao, they had to deal with the Primal Chaos Palace first. Otherwise, everything was nonsense. However, it was easier said than done to destroy the Primal Chaos Palace. The 5 of them returned to the Devil Palace with a gloomy expression. However, they didn't expect Longao to follow them back to the first heavens. The current Primal Chaos realm was still dominated by 4 major forces. The 4 major forces were the Devil Palace, the Domain Lords Alliance, the Pill Hall, and the Ancient Sect. After returning to the first heavens, Longao first sent Sister Lin back to the Domain Lords Alliance. No matter what, killing a Primal Chaos Reincarnation Realm cultivator was an extremely dangerous thing. Even if Sister Lin was a Primal Chaos Life and Death Realm cultivator, she couldn't do it. Domain Lords Alliance. Seeing Longao and Lin return safely, Songye and the others heaved a sigh of relief. The 3 of them knew that since Longao was fine, he must have escaped the pursuit of a Primal Chaos Realm cultivator. Even if they were beaten to death, they wouldn't have thought that Longao could subdue a Primal Chaos Realm cultivator. Longao wouldn't say it. Song Lin wouldn't say it either. Brother Long, please. Domain Lord Alliance, back Mountain Forbidden Area. Without Songye's instructions, even Song Lin's father, Song Hao, did not dare to casually step in. But due to Song Hao's identity, Songye let Song Hao accompany him. Brother Long, is what Lin said earlier true? Longao naturally knew what Songye meant. Since things had already come to this, there was no need for him to hide anything. He nodded and replied, indeed. The evil ancestor used a secret technique. Not only did he condense the primal chaos seed, he even preserved his primordial spirit. Fortunately, the hidden danger was successfully resolved. Sister Lin is fine now. Was it joy or sorrow? Song Lin had fused with the primal chaos seed and would definitely become a martial artist in the future. But now Songye was more or less disappointed. However, he knew that if it wasn't for Longao's intervention, then even if Lin was able to successfully attain her Tao in the future, it would probably be a calamity for the Domain Lord Alliance. Thank you, Brother Long, you're welcome. I'm sure you're aware of the relationship between Sister Lin and me. Without further ado, Longao's meaning was clear. How could Songye and the rest not understand? After thinking for a while, Songye said, Brother Long, I don't need to hide your relationship with Lin from you. Evil Moon has already looked for me previously. Join forces to deal with me? Without any surprise, Longao had already guessed Evil Moon's intention. Especially this time, Evil Moon had witnessed Evil Ancestor's strength. If there were no accidents, Evil Moon would not only join forces with Songye, but also other primal chaos reincarnation martial artists. And I didn't agree. Until now, Songye still hadn't regained his senses. Even if Longao was a genius, he was only in the chaotic life and death realm. Evil Moon's strength was very strong, and he had already joined forces with Mo Wutian and the rest. Under such circumstances, Evil Moon actually wanted to join forces with other primal chaos reincarnation martial artists. What did this mean? Songye wasn't a fool. Of course, he knew it wasn't so simple. It seemed like Longao wasn't as simple as he looked. Otherwise, why would Evil Moon be so wary of him? In addition, Songye didn't want to get involved in the grudge between the two. Whether it was Evil Moon or Longao, they weren't people he could provoke. Once he showed favoritism, it would be a devastating blow to him. Also, Songye was very clear about his relationship with Lin. Once Longao matured in the future, it would only be a good thing for the Domain Lords Alliance. How could Longao not know Songye's intention? But he didn't point it out. Having one more friend was always better than having one more enemy. Moreover, there was Lin's relationship. Evil Moon. Sangya didn't continue to dwell on this issue. Instead, he asked, "Brother Long, what are you going to do next? Deal with Evil Moon?" Sure enough, although Sangya had already guessed it, he was still a little shocked. Looking at the entire chaos world, other than Longao, no one else dared to say such a thing. After all, Evil Moon's strength was there. There was also Mo Wutian, Nangong Yin, Juin, and the divine mathematician. As long as Evil Moon and the others wanted to destroy the Domain Lord's Alliance or the Pill Hall, it would be a piece of cake. Longao didn't continue to stay. It was a joke. It was already very kind of Sangya to not help Evil Moon. He didn't ask for more. It was better to rely on oneself than to rely on others. Even if he couldn't deal with Evil Moon with his current strength, it didn't mean that he didn't have a chance. As long as he defeated them one by one, he would be able to deal with Evil Moon. Among Evil Moon and the others, Longao had already thought about it. The first thing he had to deal with was Juin. No matter what, he had to subdue Juin first. In this way, he could gather the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts and use the Chaos Divine Beast diagram to help Blackie and the others recover to the Chaos Reincarnation Realm. In this way, the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts were equivalent to 10 Chaos Reincarnation Realm warriors. Once the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts recovered, even Evil Moon wouldn't be able to resist the Chaos Divine Beast diagram and the 9 Chaos Divine Beasts. Killing Evil Moon and the others would be a piece of cake. Therefore, the most important thing now was to deal with Juin as soon as possible. After leaving the Domain Lord's Alliance, Longao entered the perimeter of the Devil Palace, waiting for an opportunity to divide Mo Wutian and the others, and then take advantage of the situation. At this moment, Gu Hao rushed to the first heavenly domain from the Thunder Heavenly Domain and entered the Devil Palace. Gu Hao. The current Gu Hao was already famous throughout the entire Chaos Realm, and the ancient sect that he had created himself was able to contend against the other superpowers. Furthermore, Gu Hao himself was also a powerful primal chaos samsara realm cultivator, and as for whether he could contend against Evil Moon, it should be impossible. Evil Moon, Mo Wutian, Nangong Yin, divine mathematician, I came uninvited. You should welcome me. Chapter 3297. Welcome? How could they welcome him? The current ancient sect was simply the mortal enemy of the Demon Palace, and the ancient sect was created by Gu Hao. Of course, Evil Moon and the other two did not care at all. In any case, no matter who dominated the Chaos Realm, it had nothing to do with them. Only Mo Wutian. The development of the ancient sect had already exceeded his understanding. Please. Gu Hao did not hold back and directly sat down. Amongst the four of them, Evil Moon was the main character. He smiled. Evil Moon smiled and said, I wonder why Brother Gu has come this time? Gu Hao did not hesitate in the slightest and said, I heard that you guys have met Longao. I believe that you guys should know about the grudge between me and Longao, so I want to join hands with you guys to deal with Longao. Evil Moon and the others were not surprised at all, as if they had already guessed Gu Hao's meaning. If it was just Longao alone, then having Gu Hao join would also be a good thing. But now, the situation was different. The reason was simple. Attaining the primordial spirit, Xianyuan Bubi. Gu Hao laughed and said with a smile, with me joining, I believe that Longao will not be able to escape this calamity. I have already thought of a way to deal with his primal chaos palace. Hearing Gu Hao's words, everyone was overjoyed. After all, the reason why Longao was able to live until now was not because of his strength, but because of the primal chaos palace in his hands. However, Evil Moon said, Gu Hao, I believe you have conditions to deal with Longao. Why don't you say it? I only want Xianyuan Bubi's primordial spirit. As expected, Evil Moon had already guessed that he could give up on any treasure in Longao's hands, but he could not give up on Xianyuan Bubi's primordial spirit, including Xianyuan Bubi's Tao confirming seed. Xianyuan Bubi could clearly feel that if they were to fight one-on-one, other than himself, no one else would be a match for Gu Hao. It seemed that Gu Hao alone was unable to kill Longao, and wanted to borrow their strength. Gu Hao, forgive me for not agreeing to your request. You and I both know Xianyuan Bubi's identity. Whether it's primordial spirit or the Tao confirming seed, I must obtain them. Mo Wu Tian and the other two were filled with greed. No matter what kind of treasure it was nothing compared to the face of a Tao verification seed. However, Gu Hao did not mind and said with a smile, Senior Evil Moon, you should know that without my help, you would not be able to kill Longao, and wait until Longao's cultivation breaks through the primal chaos reincarnation realm. After saying that, Gu Hao did not continue, but the meaning behind his words was already very clear. Evil Moon shook his head. You may leave. Gu Hao's face changed. He originally thought that with such a trump card, even Xie Yu and the others would choose to compromise and agree to his request. But what was the result? Senior Evil Moon, have you decided? We'll naturally think of a way to deal with Longao. However, I'll still say the same thing. I'm determined to get Xianyuan Bubi's primordial spirit and Tao verification seed. What did that mean? How could Gu Hao not know? He was furious in his heart, but although he could defeat Mo Wutian and the others with his strength, he was not Evil Moon's match. Without a doubt, in this kind of situation, the chances of him obtaining the Tao confirming seed and primordial spirit would be infinitely lower. How could he not be angry? It was just that if he wanted to forcefully make a move, not to mention obtaining the Tao confirming seed and primordial spirit, it would be unknown whether or not he would be able to leave safely. Although Evil Moon was very polite right now, Gu Hao knew that as long as he fell out with him, Evil Moon would definitely not hesitate to deal with him. Evil Moon, how about we each take a step back? Tell me about it. I will help you deal with Longao. At the same time that you successfully kill Longao, you and I will each take one of Xianyuan Bubi's primordial spirit and Tao confirming seed. How about it? How could Evil Moon not know what Gu Hao meant? After thinking for a while, he finally nodded and agreed. Evil Moon knew that under these circumstances, it was almost impossible to kill Longao. After all, until now, he still had no way to destroy the primal Chaos Palace in his hands. Even Longao could not kill him, let alone obtain his Tao-proving seed and primordial spirit. It was simply nonsense. Was that possible? In this kind of situation, he could only agree to Gu Hao's request. No matter what, as long as he could successfully kill Longao, as for the Tao confirming seed and primordial spirit, he could casually obtain one of them. Gu Hao, I want the Tao confirming seed. Then I want the primordial spirit. In just a few minutes, the two of them had finished distributing the Tao confirming seed and primordial spirit. They didn't care about the others at all. Although Mo Wutian and the other two didn't say anything, they were all furious in their hearts. Each of them had their own ulterior motives, and it was still unknown who would obtain the Tao confirming seed and primordial spirit. Demon Palace, inside a secret room. Boss, are we really not going to get our hands on the Tao confirming seed and primordial spirit? The Candle Shadow Divine Beast was also very angry. Of course, he knew what it meant to his boss once the ancestor obtained the Tao confirming seed and primordial spirit. Mo Wutian's face was very gloomy, as ugly as it could be. He said coldly, Evil Moon and Gu Hao are simply too much. They directly chose to ignore us. As a Tao-confirming warrior, Xianyuan Bubi's primordial spirit and Tao-confirming seed are both extremely important to us. Once the two of them obtain them, there is a high chance that Gu Hao and Evil Moon will succeed. How could the Candle Shadow Divine Beast not know the meaning of his boss's words? Knowing was one thing, but how to do it was another. After all, whether it was Gu Hao or Evil Moon, their strength was obvious. Once the two of them joined hands, even if the four of them attacked at the same time, they might not be a match for the two of them. This was also what the four of them were truly afraid of. Otherwise, with the anger of Mo Wutian and the others, they would have already attacked. However, the situation was special, and the four of them endured in the end. "Boss, what should we do now?" "Endure." "Endure?" The Candle Shadow Divine Beast didn't seem to understand. He looked at his boss in front of him with a curious face, not knowing what his boss meant. After thinking for a while, Mo Wutian said coldly, "On the surface we will deal with Longao together with them. However, when we kill Longao, we will find an opportunity to seize the Tao-confirming seed and primordial spirit, then immediately escape and never come back. After I confirm my Tao, not to mention Gu Hao or Evil Moon, even if all the primal chaos reincarnation warriors come, I won't be afraid." Tao-confirming warrior was the strongest existence in the primal chaos realm. Although Evil Moon was known as the strongest under the Tao-confirming realm, he was still not enough to face a true Tao-confirming warrior. He might not even be able to withstand 3 moves from a Tao-confirming warrior. This was the strength of a Tao-confirming warrior. Chapter 3298. First Upper Region. Longao was very depressed. Waiting like this, he simply did not know when it would end. But other than waiting, he could not think of any other good way to deal with Evil Moon and the others. It was still the same. It was almost impossible to deal with Mo Wutian and the others. It was only possible to deal with them one by one. "Brother Long, are we really going to keep waiting?" How could Longao not know what Shuang was thinking? "Brother Long, you should know that Evil Moon and the others will not split up after knowing about the evil ancestor. It will not be easy to deal with them one by one." Longao nodded. "But other than waiting, there is nothing else we can do. Brother Long, why don't you look for the other 2 treasures first? Once you gather the 6 treasures, your cultivation will be able to return to the chaotic reincarnation realm." Others might not know, but Qin Shuang knew. If Brother Long recovered to the chaotic reincarnation realm, no one below the Tao-confirming realm would be a match for him. Even if Evil Moon and Brother Long could not win, Evil Moon would not be able to defeat Longao. In Qin Shuang's opinion, the most important thing now was to find a way to gather the 6 treasures and break through to the chaotic reincarnation realm. "That's right. But I have no clue about the reincarnation fruit and the underworld water. It will not be easy to lock onto the 2 treasures in the vast chaotic realm." How could he not want to look for the 2 treasures? But whether it was the reincarnation fruit or the underworld water, there was no news about them. He had no idea where to look for them. "Brother Long, do you still remember the Reincarnation Valley?" "Reincarnation Valley? Who do you mean?" "There is a high chance that the reincarnation fruit is in the Reincarnation Valley?" Longao was not unfamiliar with the Reincarnation Valley. Back then, many people had entered the Reincarnation Valley. It was said that there were chaotic reincarnation treasures in the Reincarnation Valley. But in the end, they did not find anything. The Reincarnation Valley was also known as one of the forbidden places in the chaotic realm. But there was no reincarnation fruit in the Reincarnation Valley. On this point, not only did he know this, but Shuang also knew this. If that was the case, why would she say that? What was the reason? He could not figure it out. Qin Shuang seemed to be able to guess what Longao was thinking. She smiled and said, "Brother Longao, since we don't have any clues, why don't we try our luck?" "Try my luck?" Longao was a little amused, but since Shuang had already said so, Longao could only nod and agree. The 2 of them didn't continue to stay in the first sky region. He left just like that. The 2 of them immediately set off for the Reincarnation Valley. The Reincarnation Valley was one of the forbidden grounds of the primal chaos world. It had a large amount of reincarnation airflow. If one's cultivation base did not break through the primal chaos reincarnation realm, it would be hard to predict whether one would live or die. Not to mention ordinary martialists, even chaotic life and death realm martialists would not dare to casually step into it. From this, one could imagine how terrifying the Reincarnation Valley was. The Reincarnation Valley was a valley that seemed to be sitting on top of the clouds. It was surrounded by black fog. From afar, the entire valley looked like a huge black fog. Brother Long, your cultivation base has yet to recover to the Chaos Reincarnation Realm. Can you step into the Reincarnation Valley? How could Longao not know Shuang's meaning? The Reincarnation Valley itself was a place where reincarnation was gathered. Only chaotic life and death realm martialists could easily step in without being attacked by the Reincarnation Valley. Once others stepped in, even chaotic life and death realm martialists, they would be attacked by the Reincarnation Valley and might even be obliterated. Currently, he was only in the chaotic life and death realm and had yet to break through to the Chaos Reincarnation realm. Under normal circumstances, once he stepped into the Reincarnation Valley, he would definitely die. However, Longao wasn't worried at all. He smiled and said, Shuang, don't worry. Although my cultivation base has yet to recover to the Chaos Reincarnation Realm, I'm not afraid of the Reincarnation airflow attack in the Reincarnation Valley. Let's go. Just as Longao was about to send Shuang into his chaotic dantian. Brother Long, I want to go in with you. Of course, Longao knew what Shuang meant. Although he had personally agreed, she probably still didn't believe him. If he entered the Reincarnation Valley and encountered any problems, it would be good to have Shuang by his side to take care of him. Longao didn't say much. He nodded and held Shuang's hand as they walked into the Reincarnation Valley. In the blink of an eye, the two had disappeared into the valley. The entire Reincarnation Valley was filled with black fog. It wasn't the first time the two had entered the Reincarnation Valley, so they were familiar with it. Even so, the two didn't dare to be careless. Ever since they stepped into the Reincarnation Valley, the two had been extremely careful and alert. When they first entered the Reincarnation Valley, they stayed for a few years without finding any treasures. Because of this, the two didn't intend to try their luck. They only wanted to try their luck and see if they could find the legendary reincarnation fruit. Luck, in the end, was still a matter of luck. Longao didn't say much, but he didn't have any confidence in his heart. Back then, he spent so much time and still couldn't find the so-called reincarnation fruit, let alone now. However, he still followed Shuang's request. Since he was here this time, he would try his luck. Ao come in first. Hearing their master's call, Longao and Shuang's figures disappeared and returned to the chaotic dantian. Master, what's the matter? Longao was very curious. He didn't know why his master had called for him at this time. As for the real reason why he wasn't worried about entering the Reincarnation Valley, it was because of his chaotic dantian. Even if the reincarnation chi in the Reincarnation Valley attacked him, he could instantly step into the chaotic dantian. Fortunately, after Longao stepped into the Reincarnation Valley, he wasn't attacked by the reincarnation chi. Even Longao himself was very curious and didn't know what was going on. Xianyuan Bubi looked at the evil ancestor beside him and said with a smile, "The evil ancestor has something good for you." Hearing his master's words, Longao looked at the evil ancestor and became even more curious. He didn't know what the evil ancestor was going to give him. However, the evil ancestor was a Tao-proving warrior after all. If his master and the evil ancestor saw it as a treasure, it definitely wouldn't be something ordinary. Evil ancestor, I wonder what you're going to give me? Even Longao was a little excited. He wanted to see what the evil ancestor was going to give him. Shuang didn't say anything, but her eyes were shining. Because even Shuang knew that the evil ancestor would take out something good this time. Chapter 3299. The evil ancestor smiled helplessly. Young master. He waved his hand. Before the evil ancestor could finish, Longao said, Evil ancestor, I've said it before. You don't have to call me young master or master. Just call me by my name. The evil ancestor seemed to want to say something, but Xianyuan Bubi said, Evil ancestor, just do as Aoer said. The evil ancestor was helpless, but since things had come to this, he could only agree. Longao, you should know that your master and I are Dao validation warriors. Longao nodded and did not say anything. But what did the evil ancestor mean? And at our cultivation level, ordinary treasures are nothing in our eyes. Longao still did not say anything. Qin Shuangshuang also did not say anything. Longao, have you heard of the legendary God-slaying finger? God-slaying finger? Hearing the 3 words God-slaying finger, Longao was truly shocked because he was not unfamiliar with the God-slaying finger at all because the God-slaying finger was a supreme technique in the legends. Evil ancestor, with my current strength, I can't cultivate a Dao validation cultivation technique. The God-slaying finger was a Dao validation cultivation technique, and only Dao validation warriors could cultivate it. Warriors below the Dao validation realm could not cultivate it at all. Everyone in the Chaos realm knew about this. The evil ancestor smiled and said, Longao, you definitely can't cultivate ordinary Dao validation cultivation techniques, but you can cultivate my God-slaying finger. Not only can you cultivate it, but you can also upgrade it. What did that mean? Hearing the evil ancestor's words, Longao was completely stunned. He did not know what the evil ancestor meant. Could it be? As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, the evil ancestor continued, My God-slaying finger, after you cultivate it, will not be a Dao validation cultivation technique. When your cultivation level breaks through the Chaos reincarnation realm, the power of the God-slaying finger will also break through to a Dao validation cultivation technique. Although he had guessed it, Longao was still shocked after hearing it. Such a cultivation technique was truly heaven-defying. Xianyuan Bubi said with a smile, Aoer, the evil ancestor and I have already thought about it. After you have proven your Dao, we will teach you everything we know. But before that, you can cultivate the God-slaying finger. Thank you, Master. Longao was not a fool. How could he not understand the meaning behind his master and evil ancestor's words? Evil Moon? The evil ancestor had personally fought Evil Moon before, so he naturally knew how powerful Evil Moon was. Although he could rely on his own strength to contend against Mo Wutian and the others, he was still unable to fight against Evil Moon. Could it be that he could fight against Evil Moon with the help of the God-killing finger? Evil ancestor and Xianyuan Bubi looked at each other and smiled. Xianyuan Bubi smiled and said, Aoer, the evil ancestor's God-slaying finger is one of the top martial skills among all the Dao-proving cultivation technique. You can definitely comprehend it and fight against Evil Moon. As for Mo Wutian and the others, you can definitely kill them. Longao was shocked. He had already guessed the power of the God-killing finger, but he still found that he had underestimated it. The evil ancestor said, Longao, although the God-killing finger can help you fight against Evil Moon, it is still very difficult to comprehend it. Back then, I spent tens of billions of years to comprehend the God-killing finger. From then on, I could defeat all the martial artists below the Dao-proving realm. Those who could successfully validate their Dao, which one of them was not a genius. Even the evil ancestor needed to comprehend for tens of billions of years before he could successfully comprehend the God-slaying finger. Longao found it hard to imagine how difficult it was to comprehend the God-slaying finger. Even a genius like the evil ancestor needed hundreds of years to comprehend it. How long would it take for him to comprehend it? It was unimaginable, but it was also his luck to have such a heaven-defying martial skill. In the following time, the evil ancestor imparted the god-killing finger to Longao. He originally wanted to try his luck in the Reincarnation Valley to see if he could find the reincarnation fruit. But now, comprehending the god-killing finger was definitely more important. No matter what, whether he could find the reincarnation fruit was still unknown. But the god-killing finger was something he possessed. The two could not be compared. But Qin Shuang left the chaotic Dantian and returned to the Reincarnation Valley alone to search for the reincarnation fruit. If it was any other place, Longao would definitely not agree. But now, he did not stop her. After all, the Reincarnation Valley was not dangerous for a chaotic reincarnation realm martial artist. Just like that, the two of them went their separate ways. Qin Shuang returned to the Reincarnation Valley to search for the reincarnation fruit, while Longao stayed in the chaotic Dantian to comprehend the god-killing finger. Under such circumstances, the god-killing finger was too important for him. To him, Evil Moon was the most troublesome person. Mo Wutian and the others were nothing in his eyes. So, as long as he could deal with Evil Moon, it would be like adding wings to a tiger for him. The most important thing now was to comprehend the god-killing finger as soon as possible. The evil ancestor had said it himself. Back then, when he was in the chaotic reincarnation realm, he had spent tens of billions of years to comprehend the god-killing finger. Even if Longao was talented, it would take him a long time to comprehend the god-killing finger. But the result? In just one day, Longao had successfully comprehended the god-killing finger. It could be said that he had truly reached the entry level. Xianyuan Bubi and the evil ancestor looked ahead. Longao had already comprehended the god-killing finger. Although he had not reached the great completion level, he had already reached the entry level. The two of them looked as though they had seen a ghost. Xianyuan, you have taken in a good disciple. What I have not been able to do for hundreds of years, Longao only took a day. Comparisons are odious. The evil ancestor was shocked. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would not have believed that Longao had managed to comprehend the god-killing finger in just one day. Tens of billions of years in one day. Thinking back to how he had spent tens of billions of years to comprehend the god-killing finger, the evil ancestor felt bitter. It seemed like Longao's talent was enough to look down on the entire chaotic world. Ha 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 ha. Xianyuan Bubi was unable to contain himself and started to laugh crazily. To be able to comprehend the god-killing finger in merely a single day, such talent was truly unheard of and unseen. The evil ancestor shook his head helplessly. It would be a lie to say that he was not envious. Not only was he envious of Xianyuan Bubi for having such a good disciple, but he was also envious of Longao's talent. Xianyuan, I heard that Longao had even created a cultivation technique. He had only cultivated it to the 7th revolution, and he had already broken through the chaotic reincarnation realm. What about the 8th revolution, or even the 9th revolution? It was hard to imagine how heaven-defying this cultivation technique of Longao's would be. Chapter 3300. He shrugged helplessly. Xianyuan Bubi sighed with emotion toward this disciple of his. The 9-revolution chaos mantra was an incomparably heaven-defying cultivation method even for Tao validation martial artists. To be able to create such a cultivation method, it was easy to imagine how amazing this disciple of his was. He was very proud. The Reincarnation Valley was huge. Even Qin Shuang couldn't travel to every corner of it in a short period of time. And because of the restrictions of the Forbidden Land, even if Qin Shuang was a primal chaos samsara warrior, it was very difficult for her to release her essence spirit to cover a further area. It was already pretty good that his essence soul could cover a few hundred meters. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done it. Given the strength of a primal chaos samsara martial artist, It was simply too easy to cover the entire reincarnation valley and find what they wanted. I have to find it. I have to find it. Qin Shuang was very nervous because she knew very well what the reincarnation fruit meant to Brother Long. As Longao could obtain these 6 treasures, he would be able to successfully break through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. Right at this moment, whoosh, 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 several silhouettes rushed over quickly. Before they arrived, their frenzied attacks had already arrived. Qin Shuang was shocked. She did not know what was going on. Why would she be surrounded by so many people in the reincarnation valley? He and Longao had come here in secret, and no one in the entire primal chaos realm knew about it. Evil Moon? The people who had just appeared were none other than Evil Moon, Gu Hao, Mo Wutian, Nangong Yin, Divine Mathematician, and Juin Divine Beast. A total of 6 primal chaos reincarnation warriors. Qin Shuang's face instantly turned gloomy. She couldn't contact Brother Long at all. Similarly, she couldn't enter the chaotic Dantian. After all, before this, no matter what, the 2 of them wouldn't believe it. Ha ha, Qin Shuang, I think you'd better surrender, lest we accidentally hurt you. Evil Moon and the others were pleasantly surprised. They did not expect that Qin Shuang was really here. It turned out that, after Longao and Qin Shuang left, they were already discovered by Gu Hao, so Gu Hao and the others followed behind them, all the way to the samsara fruit. Although they did not know what the 2 of them were going to do in the reincarnation valley, how could Evil Moon and the others give up such an opportunity so easily? It was better that Longao was not around. Of course, they knew the relationship between Longao and Qin Shuang. Since then, as long as they could capture Qin Shuang, there was no doubt that they could deal with Longao. At that time, what they wanted to do was up to them. As for Longao, he was meat on the chopping board waiting to be slaughtered. In the eyes of Evil Moon and the others, the current Qin Shuang was simply unable to withstand their siege. Humph, with just you 2? Hearing Qin Shuang's words, everyone laughed instead of getting angry. Gu Hao laughed and said, Qin Shuang, not to mention you alone, even if Longao was here, he would still not be able to save you. However, I really hope that Longao is here. It had just appeared. Evil Moon and the others joined hands and directly released their primordial spirit to envelop them. If they said that they were not afraid, then they would definitely be lying. After all, even they had no way of locking onto the primal chaos palace in Longao's hands. As for whether Gu Hao's method was feasible or not, no one knew. Of course, Qin Shuang knew what it meant once he was trapped. At that time, Big Brother Long would be in big trouble. Thinking of this, Qin Shuang turned around and left. It would be best if he could contact Big Brother Long. Once he entered the primal chaos Dantian, even if Evil Moon and the others joined hands, they would not be able to do anything to him. Qin Shuang had complete confidence in the primal chaos Dantian that Longao possessed. However, with how big the reincarnation valley was, it was easier said than done to contact Big Brother Long. Evil Moon and the others only sneered. In the next second, Qin Shuang was surrounded by Mo Wutian, Nangong Yin and the Divine Mathematician. Amongst the 5 of them, it seemed that Gu Hao and Evil Moon were slowly becoming the leaders. Even if Mo Wutian and the others felt uncomfortable and unwilling, under these circumstances, they did not dare to say anything. No matter what, Evil Moon and Gu Hao's strength was placed there. Even if the 4 of them joined hands, they would still not be a match for Gu Hao and Evil Moon. Attack! What are you waiting for? In order to prevent any changes, Evil Moon and Gu Hao were naturally unwilling to wait any longer. The 2 of them had already finished dividing the spoils, and the Tao-confirming seed and primordial spirit were all distributed by the 2 of them. As for the other things, the 2 of them did not care at all. It was precisely because of this that the 2 of them wished that they could immediately stop Qin Shuang. If that was the case, all they had to do was wait for Longao. Even if Longao recovered his primal chaos reincarnation realm, they would not be worried in the slightest. Mo Wutian, Nangong Yin, and the divine mathematician all had their own ulterior motives, and all of them felt very uncomfortable. It's one thing to listen to orders, but if you eat meat, at the very least, you have to let us drink soup. But in the end, they couldn't even drink a single mouthful of soup. If not for the other party's powerful strength, it was unknown whether the three of them would be obedient. Before coming, Mo Wutian had already made his preparations. In any case, Nangong Yin and the divine mathematician did not have any worries, so even if they left and provoked Evil Moon and Gu Hao, it was nothing. After all, he had the Devil Palace, so it would be a lie to say that he did not feel the slightest bit of heartache. However, the opportunity to prove one's Tao was not something that the Devil Palace could compare to. As long as there was a trace of a chance, he would not choose to give up. It was precisely because of this that before coming, Mo Wutian had already decided that as long as he could control Longao, he would not care about Evil Moon and Gu Hao. He would leave after getting what he wanted, and when the time came, he would hide himself. Even if Evil Moon and Gu Hao's strength were heaven-defying, it would not be easy for them to find him in the vast sea of people. Not only Mo Wutian, but even Nangong Yin and the divine mathematician had the same idea. As a primal chaos reincarnation cultivator, what they valued the most were things related to the Tao proving seed. For example, the Tao proving seed or the primordial spirit. As long as they could obtain one, they would have a very high chance of proving one's Tao. The three of them each had their own ulterior motives, and they all coldly looked at Qin Shuangshang. In truth, the three of them all knew that no matter who subdued Qin Shuangshang, they would have a chance to control Longao. At that time, they would have a chance to obtain the Tao-proving seed or the primordial spirit that would not be defeated. The three of them all wanted to attack, but they did not immediately do so. The reason was very simple. The three of them all wanted to control Qin Shuangshang, but they were also afraid that the other party would suddenly kill them. Especially in this kind of situation, facing the Tao-proving seed and the primordial spirit, it would be a lie to say that they were not afraid. Just as the three of them were about to attack at the same time, Qin Shuangshang was about to counterattack. An angry roar rang out, and then an incomparably domineering power descended from the sky, spreading out in all directions. Mo Wutian, Nangong Yin, the divine mathematician, and the divine beast Zhuyin, the four primal chaos reincarnation cultivators all retreated, their faces filled with shock and disbelief. Chapter 3301 Longao. Everyone was startled when they saw the figure that suddenly appeared. There seemed to be something wrong with Longao. However, upon sensing the aura released from Longao's body, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the other party was still at the chaotic samsara realm and had not truly broken through to the chaotic samsara realm. Although it was only half a step, the difference was like heaven and earth. Courting death. Evil Moon and Gu Hao did not say anything. He wanted Mo Wutian and the other two to test Longao and see what was wrong with Longao. The 3 men and 1 beast did not put Longao in their eyes at all. If he was alone, perhaps Longao would be able to contend against them. However, if he wanted to fight against the 4 of them, even Longao, who had recovered to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, wouldn't be their match, let alone the current Longao. Shuang, let's go. Of course, Qin Shuangshang knew that with his strength, even if he stayed, it would be useless. He might even implicate Brother Long instantly. Qin Shuangshang's figure disappeared without a trace. Evil Moon and others did not care whether Qin Shuangshang left or not, so they did not stop her. Instead, all their attention was on Longao. As long as he could kill Longao and obtain Xianyuan Bubi's primordial spirit and Tao proving seed, that would be enough. If it had been Longao in the past, he would have had to use the Chaos Divine Beast diagram and the help of the 9 Chaos Divine Beasts if he wanted to fight a Chaos Reincarnation martial artist. However, the situation was different now. Now that he thought about it, he felt a lingering fear. Luckily, he had comprehended the god-slaying finger in time and was worried about Shuang's safety. That was why he had come out to take a look. The more he thought about it, the more scared he became. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. In his endless rage, Longao didn't hold back at all. With the god-slaying finger, the surrounding space seemed to have started to collapse. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Space collapse? What kind of divine ability was this? Everyone's expression finally changed. Evil Moon's face was very gloomy and ugly. He said coldly, "The doctrine martial technique. I didn't expect Longao to have cultivated the doctrine martial technique." Gu Hao nodded in agreement. Moreover, the two of them knew that the Dao verification martial skill that Longao had cultivated was a top-notch existence among all Dao verification martial skills. Because if one looked at the entire primal chaos realm, one would know how heaven-defying this Dao-proving martial skill was to be able to cause space to collapse. Gu Hao was very curious. He was very clear about Xianyuan Bubi's doctrine martial skills. There didn't seem to be such a heaven-defying doctrine martial skill. What was going on? Of course, Gu Hao would not reveal the curiosity in his heart. He and Evil Moon were only temporarily working together, and once the Dao-confirming seed and primordial spirit appeared, it would be unknown whether they were enemies or friends. Evil Moon's heart was filled with greed. If he could obtain such a Dao-proving martial skill, then even if he did not prove his Dao, he would still be able to move unhindered in the Chaos realm. However, if he wanted to get what he wanted, he had to kill Longao first. The power of the god-slaying finger was quite terrifying, and Longao had just comprehended it, so it could only be considered a beginner. If he could master it, even if his cultivation did not break through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, he would still be able to contend against a super expert like Evil Moon. However, according to the evil ancestor, even now, even though he had just learned the basics of the god-slaying finger, once he had the chance, he could still successfully kill a primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist. However, even if Longao relied on the god-slaying finger, it would still be very difficult for him to defend against 4 primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artists at the same time. Furthermore, Evil Moon and Gu Hao were eyeing him covetously, and could attack at any time. Although he was incomparably furious in his heart, under such circumstances, it was better to be careful. As long as he could successfully find the reincarnation fruit and the netherworld water, then when he gathered the 6 treasures, his cultivation would be able to successfully break through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. At that time, even if it was 1 against 4, he would still be able to kill 4 people. This was confidence that was strong enough. Longao pointed his finger, and just as everyone was unwilling to meet force with force and space collapsed, Longao's figure had already disappeared. "How do you feel?" Mo Wutian and the others naturally knew what Shiyuem meant by that. Mo Wutian thought for a moment, then said, "Senior, the martial skill that Longao is using is extremely powerful. In a one-on-one situation, I am not his match." Although he was unwilling to believe it, the truth was right in front of him, and he had no choice but to believe it. He was very shocked. What kind of martial skill did Longao use just now? Such a martial skill was a little too heaven-defying. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Not to mention Mo Wutian, even Nangong Yin and the godly mathematician were shocked. Such a heaven-defying martial skill was truly unprecedented. Since things had turned out this way, Evil Moon didn't hide anything. He said, "The martial skill Longao used just now is a martial skill of Dao verification. A martial skill of Dao verification, of course you can't resist." The words martial skill of Tao verification completely shocked the three of them. Of course, they knew what a martial skill of Tao verification meant. However, after thinking about it, they understood. Longao had Xianyuan Bu Bai, a martial skill of Tao verification, in his body. Senior, can we cultivate a martial skill of Tao verification? Evil Moon obviously knew what he meant. He shook his head and said, without Tao verification, it is impossible to cultivate a martial skill of Tao verification. However, according to my observation, the martial skill Longao cultivated is very powerful. Even among the martial skill of Tao verification seeds, it is a top existence. It's just that, Evil Moon didn't know why Longao could cultivate a martial skill of Tao verification. He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. Therefore, he didn't continue speaking. Mo Wutian and the other two seemed to have guessed Evil Moon's meaning and didn't continue to ask. However, their hearts were filled with greed. If the three of them could obtain such a martial skill of Tao verification, the more they thought about it, the more greedy they became. They couldn't wait to obtain it. The godly mathematician Yi Bu thought for a while and said, Longao has cultivated a martial skill of Tao verification. No matter how he cultivated it, he is already strong enough to contend against any two of us. When Longao's cultivation breaks through the chaotic reincarnation realm, it is hard to imagine how terrifying his strength will be. Back then, Longao didn't cultivate a martial skill of Tao verification, but he was already known as the strongest existence under the Tao verification. Although he hadn't fought with an existence like Evil Moon, to be known as the strongest person under the Tao verification, one could imagine how heaven-defying Longao's strength was. Moreover, Longao had cultivated a martial skill of Tao verification. Moreover, it was such a heaven-defying martial skill of Tao verification. Once his cultivation recovered to the chaotic reincarnation realm, not to mention ordinary chaotic reincarnation realm experts, even Evil Moon might not be a match for Longao. Chapter 3302. Inside the Chaotic Dantian. Longao was very angry, but even though he was angry, there was nothing he could do. Even if he had comprehended the god-slaying finger, he still wouldn't be a match for several primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artists. He could feel the anger in Brother Long's heart. Qin Shuangshuang smiled and said, "Revenge is a dish best served cold?" "That may be so, but, Brother Long, the most important thing now is to find a way to find the reincarnation fruit. When your cultivation level returns to the chaotic reincarnation realm, they can't do anything even if they join forces." Longao held Shuangshuang's hand gently and smiled. However, it was unknown whether the reincarnation fruit existed in the reincarnation valley. This was what Longao felt the most helpless about. Out of the 6 treasures, only the nether water and the reincarnation fruit had not been obtained. He still had no clue. "Brother Long, what should we do now?" "Wait." With Evil Moon and the rest outside, he and Shuangshuang could not go out to find the reincarnation fruit. However, Longao had things to do. He continued to comprehend the god-slaying finger. He had just witnessed the power of the god-slaying finger. Even if he faced 4 chaotic reincarnation realm martial artists at the same time, he could still escape unscathed. One could imagine how terrifying the power of the god-slaying finger was. Even Longao did not expect that he could successfully comprehend the god-slaying finger in a day. After all, according to the evil ancestor had taken tens of billions of years to comprehend the god-slaying finger. What did that mean? 1 year and tens of billions of years were 2 different concepts. However, Longao knew that the god-slaying finger that he had comprehended was not enough to fight against 4 martial artists at the same time. He could barely even fight against 2 martial artists at the same time. Longao also imparted the god-slaying finger to Qin Shuangshuang. If it had been someone else, the evil ancestor would not have agreed. However, given the relationship between Qin Shuangshuang and Longao, the evil ancestor did not say much. Longao could successfully comprehend the god-slaying finger in a day. Qin Shuangshuang could not. Not only could she not, but she also had no clue. 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. Qin Shuangshuang did not have any confidence in the god-slaying finger that she had mastered. She did not know that it was impossible to comprehend it. Not everyone was like Brother Ruelong, who managed to comprehend the god-slaying finger in just one day. However, Qin Shuangshuang did not choose to give up. She knew very well what the god-slaying finger meant. The god-slaying finger was a top-notch Dao verification martial skill even when placed among all Dao verification martial skills. Time passed quickly. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. For the past 3 years, Evil Moon and the others never left the Reincarnation Valley. Everyone was certain that Longao and Qin Shuangshuang were still in the Reincarnation Valley. They were only hiding in the Primal Chaos Hall. Senior, what should we do now? Mo Wutian and the others had already lost their patience. As long as Longao hid in the Primal Chaos Hall and did not come out, they would not be able to do anything. If this continued, once Longao truly grasped the previous Dao verification martial skill, one could imagine what it meant. Mo Wutian and the others looked at Gu Hao intentionally or unintentionally, because Gu Hao had already said that he had a way to lock onto and break Longao's Primal Chaos Hall. It was just that 3 years had passed, and Gu Hao was still unwilling to say what method it was. Everyone once thought that Gu Hao did not know what to do, and only wanted to take advantage of them for nothing. How could he endure it? However, the 3 of them were not fools. If they could think of it, Evil Moon would definitely be able to think of it as well. Since that was the case, why not wait for Evil Moon to get angry? There was no need to be the first to stand out. How could Evil Moon not know what the 3 of them meant? Not to mention the 3 of them, even Evil Moon was a little angry. In these 3 years, he had asked Gu Hao many times to see what he should do. But the result? Gu Hao had delayed time and time again. If Gu Hao really wanted to trick him, then he would join hands with Mo Wutian and the others to kill him. Brother Gu, if you are still unwilling to make a move, then please leave this place. Otherwise at this point, Evil Moon did not continue speaking, but the meaning behind his words was already very clear. It would be a lie to say that he was not afraid. Gu Hao stared at his surroundings. He was very clear in his heart that in this situation, if he did not make a move, Evil Moon and the others would really join hands to deal with him. At that time, it would be very difficult to end the situation. The Primal Chaos Hall in Longao's hands is a heaven-defying Primal Chaos Divine tool. Nonsense. Hearing Gu Hao's words, Mo Wutian and the others cursed in their hearts. However, in this situation, they were not willing to say anything. After all, among the people here, only Gu Hao could lock onto the Primal Chaos Hall. As for whether he could break through the Primal Chaos Hall, it was still unknown. Under normal circumstances, not to mention breaking through the Primal Chaos Hall, even being able to lock onto the Primal Chaos Hall is a huge problem. However, I have already thought of a way to deal with Longao's Primal Chaos Hall. Brother Gu, what method is it? You don't have to keep me in suspense anymore. Nangong Yin was completely speechless. He couldn't help but ask. He had seen pretentious people before, but he had never seen such a pretentious person. Evil Moon did not say anything, but a trace of impatience appeared on his face. Otherwise, he would not be able to lock onto Longao's Primal Chaos Hall, so he did not need to wait for Gu Hao's pretentious act. Gu Hao seemed to have already noticed that everyone's faces were filled with impatience. He forced a smile and said, "My method is very simple." After saying that, Gu Hao took out a golden needle from his bosom and said, Senior Evil Moon, the universe space you possess can completely trap Longao. As for my golden needle, it can break through the other party's primal chaos hall. Gu Hao seemed to be very confident in his own golden needle. On the other hand, Evil Moon and the others looked at Gu Hao curiously, not knowing what the golden needle that the other party had suddenly taken out was. "Brother Gu, I wonder what kind of treasure this golden needle of yours is?" Evil Moon and the others did not seem to believe it. After all, it was a little unrealistic for a small golden needle to be able to break through the legendary Primal Chaos Hall. However, everyone was very clear that without full confidence, Gu Hao would not casually take out this golden needle. Everyone, I don't know if you've heard of it, but within the Primal Chaos realm, there is a Primal Chaos divine tool, the Primal Chaos Golden Needle. Mo Wuqian and the others were confused. They did not know what kind of treasure this golden needle was. On the other hand, Evil Moon seemed to have thought of something, and nodded in shock, saying, "Gu Hao's luck is really good, to actually be able to obtain this treasure. With the Primal Chaos Golden Needle, we can indeed break through the Primal Chaos Hall." Chapter 3303. Brother Gu, just what kind of treasure is the Chaos Gold Needle? Evil Moon knew, but the others did not. However, Gu Hao smiled and said, "This Chaos Gold Needle belongs to Xianyuan Bubi. Not to mention us, even if Xianyuan Bubi were to face a martial artist who had verified his Dao back then, it would still be a supreme treasure that could kill him." Hearing this, Mo Wuqian and the others were shocked. Of course, they knew about the relationship between Xianyuan Bubi and Gu Hao. "Senior Evil Moon, let's begin." Nodding his head. Evil Moon seemed to be in a hurry as well. Immediately, he released his own heaven and earth space. In the next second, the surrounding space started to vibrate intensely. Huff huff, huff huff, huff huff, the heaven and earth space itself was an extremely heaven-defying chaos divine weapon. Sensing the power of the outside world, Longao's face changed as he looked at his master, Xianyuan Bubi, and asked, "Master, you have a Chaos Gold Needle?" As though he had guessed something, Xianyuan Bubi's face darkened. "That's right. Back then, I accidentally obtained this treasure and taught it to Gu Hao." The more Xianyuan Bubi thought about it, the angrier he got. Back then, he had imparted the Chaos Gold Needle to this traitor. "Aor, seems like Gu Hao wants to use the Chaos Gold Needle to deal with you." "That's right." Of course, Longao knew what Gu Hao and Evil Moon wanted to do. One had the heaven and earth space, while the other had the Chaos Gold Needle. Once the two of them joined forces, one would know what it meant. Longao did not dare to say for sure if his Chaos Dantian would be able to withstand the two of them joining forces. One could never be too careful. If his Chaos Dantian could not withstand it, not to mention himself, just his master, Shuang, and the others would be in trouble. "Master, how should we deal with this?" The Chaos Gold Needle was his master's treasure. Longao knew that no one knew the Chaos Gold Needle better than his master, including Gu Hao. Xianyuan Bubi's face was terrible. Thinking about it, he said, "Aor, the Chaos Gold Needle's power is terrifying. Especially for space divine weapons, it's like a nemesis." Nemesis. Longao naturally knew what his master meant. "Master, my Dantian has already fused with the Chaos Palace. Chaos Gold Needle can break it?" Longao didn't have the slightest confidence in this. Aor, Primal Chaos Gold Needle. At this point, Xianyuan Bubi did not continue. "Master, what is it?" The more his master acted like this, the more uncertain Longao felt. He had already thought it through. If there was really no other way, he would avoid it first. As the saying goes, a wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. If his chaotic Dantian was really broken by the Primal Chaos Golden Needle, he would not even have the chance to regret it. The evil ancestor was also very surprised. He didn't know what Xianyuan Bubi meant. Why did he suddenly stop talking? Was there really no way to subdue the primal chaos golden needle? Xianyuan Bubi seemed to have thought of something. He casually said, I have a way to subdue the primal chaos golden needle. However, it is slightly dangerous. Danger? Longao smiled and said, Master, tell me, what is the method? No matter what method it was, Longao would not hesitate in the slightest. Furthermore, there would be no opportunities without danger. If he could really obtain the primal chaos golden needle, then it would be a good thing for him. The current reincarnation valley was already enveloped by the universe space, and was covered with a strange air current. If it was just the Chaos Palace with the power of the universe space, it would be really easy to lock onto it. However, the current situation was very different. Longao's Dantian had already fused with the primal Chaos Palace. If Evil Moon wanted to use the universe space to lock onto Longao's position, it would not be an easy task. At this moment, Evil Moon's face immediately lit up. He said in surprise, It's locked onto. If it wasn't for Longao purposely revealing a flaw, Evil Moon wouldn't have been able to successfully lock onto the other party's position in such a short period of time. It was completely nonsense. Under such circumstances, Gu Hao naturally wouldn't hold back in the slightest. He immediately used the primal chaos golden needle and fiercely pierced towards the so-called specific position. At this moment, Longao's figure appeared, not dodging or dodging. It was just as Xianyuan Bubi was worried. If Longao made the slightest mistake, forget about obtaining the primal chaos golden needle, it was unknown whether he would be able to survive. However, Longao insisted on doing so. This was because he knew very well that under such circumstances, he had to subdue the primal chaos golden needle. Otherwise, once his primal chaos Dantian was broken by the primal chaos golden needle, the consequences would be unimaginable. The speed of the primal chaos golden needle was simply too fast. Just as the primal chaos golden needle was infinitely close to Longao, it had already disappeared without a trace in the next second. Inside the primal chaos Dantian. As soon as the primal chaos golden needle entered, it began to madly attack the surrounding primal chaos Dantian. Xianyuan Bubi said impatiently, hurry up and subdue the primal chaos golden needle. Otherwise, it's very likely that the primal chaos golden needle will break through your primal chaos Dantian. How could Longao not know about his master's worries? Of course, he didn't dare to hesitate in the slightest. He immediately circulated the qi within his primal chaos Dantian and began to form a vortex. According to his master's method, if he wanted to subdue the primal chaos golden needle, he had to use the vortex to dissolve the primal chaos golden needle's attack power. Only then would he be able to subdue the primal chaos golden needle. Longao didn't have much of an idea about the primal chaos golden needle before, but now that he had personally witnessed its power, he was extremely shocked. As expected of the primal chaos golden needle that could kill a martial artist, it was truly terrifying. Just the vortex alone would definitely not be able to subdue the primal chaos golden needle. However, with the help of the evil ancestor and Xianyuan Bubi, the speed of the vortex's rotation became more and more terrifying, and the primal chaos golden needle's attack power also began to slowly weaken. Seeing this situation, Longao was pleasantly surprised to the extreme. He didn't dare to hesitate in the slightest. Success or failure depended on this. If he could subdue the primal chaos golden needle, not only would he possess a heaven-defying divine tool, he would also be able to reduce a dangerous threat to himself. Boom. With the help of the two great martial artists, as well as Qin Shuang and Longao's attacks, the huge vortex finally stopped attacking. Master, what should I do next? I'll help you. Outside the primal chaos Dantian, the originally confident Gu Hao's expression suddenly changed, because he realized that he had already lost his connection with the primal chaos golden needle. What was going on? It was simply inconceivable, but even if he was beaten to death, Gu Hao wouldn't believe that the other party could subdue his primal chaos golden needle. What was going on? Brother Gu, what's wrong? When Evil Moon and the others saw Gu Hao's expression, they also had a bad premonition. Chapter 3304. As time passed, Gu Hao's face became more and more gloomy. It was very ugly. Until now, Gu Hao still did not know what had happened. Something's not right. Something's not right? Just when everyone did not know what Gu Hao meant by his words, the situation suddenly changed. Evil Moon's face also became extremely gloomy as he said in a deep voice, "My universe space has also lost the location of the other party's primal chaos palace." Hearing Evil Moon's words, not only Mo Wutian and the others, even Gu Hao's face completely changed. It was not easy for him to snatch the primal chaos gold needle from Xianyuan Bubi. If anything happened, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Senior Evil Moon, what should we do now? Although Mo Wutian and the other two were very unhappy, since things had reached this point, they did not want Longao to leave just like that. It would be best if they could kill Longao. Facing Longao, it would be a lie to say that they were not afraid. Evil Moon and Gu Hao's faces were very ugly. Longao? Looking at Longao who suddenly appeared in front of him, Evil Moon did not hesitate at all and immediately released his aura, covering the surrounding space. Not caring at all, Longao smiled and said, "Evil Moon, do you think that your universe space can lock onto me?" The more confident Longao was, the more uncertain Evil Moon was. If it was before, even if he was beaten to death, he would not believe it. He knew very well how terrifying his universe space was. Under the Tao confirmation, almost no one could contend against his universe space. But now? It was hard to believe that Longao had left the universe space-time and time again. Especially just now, Longao had suddenly disappeared and appeared again. If not for his complete confidence, Longao would not have casually appeared. Longao, my primal chaos gold needle. Gu Hao naturally did not wish to see anything happen to his primal chaos gold needle. Longao only sneered. A golden needle appeared in his hand. It was the primal chaos gold needle. It was as if he had seen a ghost. You. After saying the word "you" 3 times in a row, Gu Hao's face was filled with disbelief. However, he seemed to have thought of something and roared with an extremely angry voice, "It must be the old bastard who helped you. Otherwise, you alone." He waved his hand. Longao did not want to continue listening to Gu Hao's nonsense and sneered. "Gu Hao, in the future, I will definitely find you personally and clean up the sect." Longao was very clear that even if he had the primal chaos gold needle and comprehended the god-slaying finger, it was still a little unrealistic for him to kill Gu Hao. Unless his cultivation base could return to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. He had already collected all 4 types of treasures and was only left with 2. Ha 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 ha. Hearing Longao's words, Gu Hao laughed crazily. His laughter was filled with endless ridicule and contempt, as if he had heard the funniest thing in the world. Gu Hao stared fixedly at Longao, who was in front of him, and said coldly, "Longao, do you think that you can contend against me just by relying on this old thing to subdue the primal chaos gold needle?" Hearing this, Longao's heart skipped a beat. He did not dare to be careless in the slightest. He had already made preparations. If anything happened, he would immediately return to the primal chaos Dantian. Even Gu Hao and Evil Moon would not be able to do anything to him. If it was in the past, Longao would definitely not dare to do this, because he was not sure if Evil Moon's universe space could lock onto his own primal chaos Dantian. But now, the situation was different. Longao was completely confident that even if he returned to the primal chaos Dantian in front of Evil Moon would not be able to use the universe space to lock onto him. This was the power of the primal chaos Dantian. It could be said like this. Other than not knowing if a Tao-confirming martial artist could lock onto his own primal chaos Dantian, it was very difficult for anyone below the Tao-confirming realm to be able to lock onto it. However, there were still many unknown primal chaos divine tools. Brother Gu, do you have a way? Not to mention Longao, even Evil Moon and the others had curious looks on their faces. They did not know if Gu Hao had a way to deal with Longao. Right now, even the universe space was unable to lock onto Longao, and even Gu Hao's primal chaos golden needle had been subdued by the other party. The more it was like this, the more they feared Longao. After all, according to Longao's situation, if this continued, who knew what would happen? Cut the weeds and eliminate the roots, forever eliminating future troubles. Ignoring Evil Moon and the others, the current Gu Hao could not help but feel heartache when he thought about the primal chaos golden needle that he had lost. However, things had already come to this, so no matter how much his heart ached, there was nothing he could do. He could only think of a way to get rid of Longao first. As long as he could obtain Xianyuan Bubi's primordial spirit and Tao confirming seed, then not to mention losing the primal chaos golden needle, he would not hesitate to lose something more important than the primal chaos golden needle. In front of the Tao confirming seed and primordial spirit, everything was like floating clouds. Longao, even if you have the help of that old fellow, I can still completely kill you. Evil Moon, Gu Hao and the others already knew that Longao actually had the primordial spirits of two Tao confirming warriors in his body. In other words, Longao had two Tao confirming seed. It was precisely because of this that Evil Moon and Gu Hao had already discussed it. Once they killed Longao, the two of them would each obtain a Tao confirming seed and devour the primordial spirit. With the combination of the two, their chances of reaching the Tao confirming realm would be extremely high. It was still the same sentence. The two of them had already distributed the Tao confirming seed and primordial spirit, and there was still nothing to do with Mo Wutian and the others. Mo Wutian and the other two did not say anything, but they were already extremely close to being beaten up. Two Tao confirming seeds and two primordial spirits, how could they not be angry? It was just that they had not killed Longao yet. If they were to fall out with him at this time, it would not benefit them at all. Furthermore, Gu Hao and Evil Moon's strength was right there. Longao, have you heard of half-step Tao confirming? Half-step Tao confirming? Besides Longao, even Mo Wutian and the others were familiar with the so-called half-step Tao verification. This was because a half-step Tao verification was a person who had already begun to verify their Tao but had yet to truly succeed. This kind of martialist was known as a half-step into the Tao verification realm. Although they were not a match for other Tao verification martialists, their strength was far above ordinary chaotic martial artists. If Gu Hao said so, could it be that Gu Hao was a half-step Tao confirming warrior? It seemed to be nonsense. Just as Gu Hao finished speaking, an extremely terrifying aura suddenly erupted from his body, causing everyone's expression to change. They could clearly feel just how terrifying the aura on Gu Hao's body was. It turned out that Gu Hao had already advanced to half a step into the Tao validation. Evil Moon's expression changed again and again. He never thought that Gu Hao had always been pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. The Gu Hao beside him was actually a half-step Tao confirming warrior. Chapter 3305. How could he not be shocked? Of course, Evil Moon knew what it meant to be half a step into the Tao confirming martial artist. Originally, he did not place Gu Hao in his eyes, but the situation had completely reversed. A martial artist half a step into the Tao confirming martial artist's strength was completely above his own. If he were to fight head-on, Evil Moon knew that his chances of winning were not high. He didn't even have a 30% chance. What kind of concept was this? So what if you're half a step into the Tao confirming realm? Longao did not have a good concept, because in his opinion, the so-called half a step into the Tao confirming martial artist was similar to Evil Moon. Even if he could not contend against a martial artist half a step into the Tao confirming realm in his current situation, could it be that he would not be able to contend against a martial artist half a step into the Tao confirming realm when his cultivation recovered to the primal chaos realm? Longao was very confident in his own situation. Longao, go against me? Before Gu Hao could finish speaking, he saw the burning heart flame lotus in Longao's hand. Gu Hao was extremely fearful of this kind of strange fire. So it turned out, back then, when Gu Hao ambushed Xianyuan Bubi, although Xianyuan Bubi was already powerless to reverse the situation, at the final critical moment, he directly used the burning heart flame lotus to heavily injure Gu Hao. It was precisely because of this. Gu Hao still had the burning heart flame lotus's fire seed in his body. If the burning heart flame lotus were to deal with him, he would know what it meant. Longao, do you really think that the burning heart flame lotus can deal with me? If it was the Longao at his peak, with the help of the burning heart flame lotus, he would be able to pose a threat to him. But now, with Longao's strength, he would not be able to cause any harm to him. How could Longao not know what Gu Hao meant? Is that so? Longao began to activate the burning heart flame lotus. The current burning heart flame lotus was no longer the same as before, but Longao was very clear in his heart that with his current situation, dealing with Gu Hao was truly an impossible task. Just when everyone thought that Longao was preparing to deal with Gu Hao, in the next second, Longao had already disappeared without a trace. Inside the primal chaos Dantian, Longao roughly explained the matter of Gu Hao becoming half a step into the martial warriors. Xianyuan Bubi was much calmer than he had imagined. He coldly said, Gu Hao's talent is already at the top of his peers. Him back then was the one with the greatest hope of proving his Tao. If Gu Hao was not anxious and wanted to replace him, he believed that the current Gu Hao, with the help of Xianyuan Bubi, would have already successfully verified his Tao. However, so what if he regretted it? The current Gu Hao only wanted to obtain Xianyuan Bubi's Tao confirming seed and primordial spirit, including the burning heart fire lotus. Master, it seems a little unrealistic to want to deal with Gu Hao now. Xianyuan Bubi nodded. Aor, I never planned for you to deal with him right now. Gu Hao is not as simple as you imagined. Not to mention the current you, even if you wait until you recover your primal chaos reincarnation realm, it will still be very difficult to kill Gu Hao. He was very shocked. However, after thinking about it, he felt relieved. Since his master had already said so, then Gu Hao was definitely not as simple as he had imagined. Although his master did not say it clearly, Longao could tell that if he wanted to kill Gu Hao, he had to break through half a step into the Tao confirmation realm before Gu Hao could truly prove his Tao. Only then would he be able to kill him. It was simple to think about, but it was extremely difficult to actually do it. Back then, even with his extraordinary talent and the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos Mantra that he created, he still did not succeed in breaking through half a step into the Tao confirmation realm. From this, one could imagine how difficult it was to break through half a step into the Tao confirmation realm. It was as if he could guess what Longao was thinking. Xianyuan Bubi said, Aor, with your talent, once you recover to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, with the help of me and the evil ancestor, I believe that in less than 1,000 years, your cultivation will be able to break through half a step into the Tao confirmation realm. He nodded. At this time, the evil ancestor seemed to have thought of something and said helplessly, in another 5,000 years, the primal chaos realm will change. Not to mention ordinary primal chaos martial artists, even Dao confirmation martial artists might fall. Longao listened quietly, but did not say anything. Longao, you don't have any concept of the primal chaos cycle, but it's best if you can smoothly prove your Dao within 5,000 years. That way you might have a chance. I understand. Once one's cultivation broke through the primal chaos reincarnation realm, one would be able to clearly sense the primal chaos cycle after 5,000 years. Just as the evil ancestor had said, this primal chaos cycle was not only related to their life and death, but also related to the life and death of the Dao confirmation martial artists. In front of the primal chaos cycle, no matter who it was, they did not have complete confidence. Outside, Gu Hao was not worried at all. Although losing the primal chaos golden needle was heartbreaking with his current strength, as long as he did not meet a true Dao confirmation martial artist, he would be able to move unhindered in the primal chaos realm. After all, in the entire primal chaos realm, there were only a few people who could break through half a step into the Dao confirmation realm. Ever since they knew of Gu Hao's true strength, whether it was Mo Wutian or Evil Moon, their attitude towards Gu Hao had undergone a subtle change. A martial artist who was half a step into the Dao confirmation realm. Among the crowd, the strongest was no longer Evil Moon, but Gu Hao. Brother Gu, you really hid your strength well. If it wasn't for Longao provoking you this time, I'm afraid you wouldn't be willing to reveal your strength. Evil Moon was somewhat bitter. Countless years ago, his cultivation had already reached the peak of the primal chaos reincarnation realm. However, even now, he was still unable to advance to the half-step Dao confirmation realm. Now that he was facing a true half-step Dao confirmation martial artist, Evil Moon became more and more disappointed. It was truly infuriating, because Gu Hao had already successfully broken through to the half-step Dao confirmation realm. This way, as long as Gu Hao did not fall, he would be able to truly succeed in the Dao confirmation realm in the future. It was only a matter of time. Evil Moon, I don't want to talk too much nonsense. As I said before, as long as we can kill Longao, the evil ancestor's Dao confirmation seed and primordial spirit will belong to you, and I only need Xianyuan Bubi's Dao confirmation seed and primordial spirit. Without waiting for Evil Moon to speak, Gu Hao continued. However, the burning heart flame lotus in Longao's hands, as well as the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, including the 9 great Chaos Divine Beasts, will all belong to me. Sure enough, the one who was most unwilling to hear about this was Mo Wutian, because once Gu Hao gathered the 9 great Chaos Divine Beasts, there was no doubt that he would turn around and deal with him. To be more precise, he would deal with the Candle-Een Divine Beast by his side. If it was an ordinary primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist, even if it was in existence like Evil Moon, he would still dare to fight. However, facing a martial artist who was half a step into the Dao confirmation realm, he did not have any way to deal with him. Not to mention him, even Evil Moon would not be able to contend against Gu Hao. This was Gu Hao's strength, the strength of a martial artist who was half a step into the Dao confirmation realm. Chapter 3306. If it was before, Evil Moon would definitely not agree. Only now, Evil Moon did not dare. Half a step into the Dao validation. No matter what, Gu Hao's strength was there. After knowing that Gu Hao was half a step into the Dao validation, Longao did not continue to attack. Be patient. Right now, the most important thing was to find a way to collect the remaining 2 treasures, the Netherworld water and the Samsara fruit. Only then would his cultivation be able to successfully break through the primal chaos Samsara realm. Without entering the Samsara realm, it was impossible to truly contend against more than 3 primal chaos Samsara realm martial artists. It was just that, in this situation, whether it was the samsara fruit or the netherworld water, he still had no clue. He was helpless. Gu Hao, Evil Moon and the others were obviously unwilling to give up just like that. With Longao's own talent and strength, as well as the help of 2 primordial spirit realm experts, once he was given enough time to develop, it was obvious what it meant. He absolutely could not raise a tiger. Especially, Xianyuan Bubi and the evil ancestors' Dao validation seed and primordial spirit were simply too important to them. No matter what price they had to pay, they had to obtain the primordial spirit and the primordial spirit. Longao and Qin Shuangshuang continued to comprehend the god-slaying finger. Qin Shuangshuang still had not comprehended it. After all, not everyone was as heaven-defying as Longao, able to successfully comprehend the god-slaying finger in just a day's time. However, Longao was also very clear that he had only just started, and was still quite a distance away from the true peak of the god-slaying finger. If he could completely comprehend the god-slaying finger and reach its peak state, then he would have a chance to kill 3 primal chaos samsara realm martial artists at the same time. This was the power of the god-slaying finger. It was extremely terrifying. "Boss, I have something to tell you." Longao was very curious. He didn't know what Little Black was going to say to him. Little Black thought for a moment, then said, "Boss, now that Evil Moon and the others have joined forces, it's not realistic for us to defeat them one by one." Nodding. Although he didn't know what Little Black was going to say, he knew that what Little Black said was true. With his current strength, if he fought alone, he could kill Imo Wutian and the others. As for whether he could contend against Evil Moon, no one knew. Without a fight, it was still unknown whether he would win or lose. However, it was impossible for him to contend against Gu Hao. Half-step Dao validation martial artists had already begun to come into contact with Dao validation. Longao could almost be sure that Evil Moon was definitely not Gu Hao's match in the battle between him and Gu Hao. This was without a doubt. "Boss, why don't we figure out a way to subdue Judas? Then, with the combined power of the 10 of us and the help of the Chaos Beast diagram, we should be able to kill Evil Moon." So that was the case. Longao already knew what Little Black meant. It would be a lie if he said that he didn't want to tame the Zhu-Yin mythical beast immediately. After all, he had already gathered 9 out of the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts. He was only missing the Zhuyin Divine Beast. If he could tame the Zhuyin Divine Beast, he would be able to open the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Not only that, Longao was almost certain that once the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts were gathered and the Chaos Divine Beast diagram was opened, then the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts would very likely succeed in proving their Dao and become Dao-confirming Divine Beasts. Previously, Longao had already asked Xianyuan Bubi and the Evil Ancestor. According to the 2 Dao-confirming martial artists, there were indeed Dao-confirming Divine Beasts in the Primal Chaos realm. However, Dao-confirming Divine Beasts were the strongest existences in the Primal Chaos realm. Even if there were, no one would be able to meet them. It was hard to imagine. If all 10 Chaos Divine Beasts succeeded in proving their Dao and became Dao-confirming Divine Beasts, then even if he met a Dao-confirming martial artist, he would still be able to run amok. It was not an easy task to forcefully subdue the Zhuyin Divine Beast among the many Primal Chaos reincarnation warriors. Especially now, Gu Hao was actually still half a step into the Dao-proving realm, so things would become more and more troublesome. "Little Black, you have a way?" Longao understood Little Black's personality very well. If he wasn't completely confident, Little Black would definitely not casually open it. In other words, Little Black definitely had a way to deal with the Zhuyin Divine Beast. If that was really the case, then it would undoubtedly be great news for him. "Boss, after our discussion, we have indeed thought of a way to deal with the Zhuyin." Just as expected. Hearing Little Black's words, Longao's heart leapt with joy. He couldn't wait to ask, "What is it?" The importance of the Juin divine beast to him was obvious. Longao had originally planned to wait until his cultivation returned to the primal chaos realm, then deal with Wutian Mo and subdue the Juin divine beast. But now, if Little Black had a way to deal with the Juin divine beast, then he couldn't wait any longer. The longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. It would be best if he could subdue the Juin as quickly as possible, then gather the power of the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts and open the diagram of the Primal Chaos Divine Beast. "Boss, if you can lure Gu Hao and the others away, then the 9 of us will have a way to deal with the Juin. Are you sure?" Longao wanted to subdue the Juin Divine Beast, but if he asked Little Black and the others to take the risk, he wouldn't agree. To him, the Juin Divine Beast wasn't as important as Little Black and the others. Little Black shook his head helplessly. "We only have a 50% chance. After all, the Juin is also a primal chaos divine beast. And for some reason, the Juin divine beast has returned to the primal chaos realm." As expected, Longao guessed that Little Black and the others weren't completely confident. He smiled and shook his head. "Little Black, you should know my personality. If I'm not completely confident, then I won't let you take action. But you're right, we need to subdue the Juin as soon as possible." Little Black was curious, and didn't know what his boss meant. After thinking for a moment, Longao smiled. "As long as we can separate the Juin divine beast from the others, then I have full confidence in my ability to subdue it." Longao knew that even if he hadn't broken through to the primal chaos realm, it wouldn't be difficult for him to subdue the Juin divine beast in a one-on-one fight. But the biggest problem right now was how to separate the Juin divine beast from the others. If they didn't do so, then it was impossible. Xiao He shrugged helplessly. He had already guessed that Boss would definitely not agree to their request. He knew Boss's personality too well. Not to mention a 50% chance, even if there was a 90% chance, he believed that Boss would not agree. "Boss, what should we do now?" Little Black really wanted to help his boss. Chapter 3307. It was just as Longao had guessed. After witnessing Longao's power, Wutian and the others didn't dare act alone. Who knew if Longao would deal with them alone? The slightest mistake could lead to unimaginable consequences. They wouldn't even have a chance to regret it. "Boss, what's wrong?" Wutian's expression was ugly. He shrugged helplessly and said, "Zhu Yin, you should know what the current situation means to you and me. It doesn't matter if it's Gu Hao or Evil Moon. So long as they kill Longao, they'll take the Chaos Beast diagram and 9 Chaos Beasts from Longao's hands. That way they'll deal with you." How could Judas not know what his boss was talking about? But what could he do? Even if they worked together, they wouldn't be a match for Gu Hao or Evil Moon. There was no question about it. "Boss, what should we do now?" "Zhu Yin, there are actually 2 paths in front of us. Why don't we choose to retreat and find a place where no one can find us? I believe that even if it's Gu Hao and Xianyuan Bubi, it won't be easy for them to find us." Judas shook his head. He knew his boss's personality all too well. If he really wanted to go into hiding, he wouldn't have told him so much. Wutian smiled knowingly. "The other option is for us to take the risk and stay here. When they kill Longao, we'll find a chance to strike." Wutian's meaning was simple. He wasn't willing to leave just like that. Whether it was the Chaos Beast diagram, the Tao Proving Seed, or the Primordial Spirit, he only needed one. Especially the Primordial Spirit and the Tao Proving Seed. If he could get them, he'd have a good chance of proving his Tao. He knew full well what it meant to prove one's Tao. Wutian knew that once he got his hands on the Tao Proving Seed or Primordial Spirit, he'd be able to stand above even Gu Hao and Evil Moon. Dao-proving cultivators were at the pinnacle of martial art. "Boss, I'll always be with you." Just then, Gu Hao walked over and smiled. "Wutian Mo, there's something I need to talk to you about." Looking at Gu Hao, who had a fake smile on his face, for some reason, Mo Wutian felt that something was wrong. Could it be that Gu Hao couldn't wait any longer and wanted to deal with him and Judas? According to Mo Wutian's guess, even if Evil Moon or Gu Hao wanted to deal with Judas, they should have done so after killing Longao. This was also what he had left behind. But now? Forcefully suppressing the uneasiness in his heart, Mo Wutian forced a smile and said, "I wonder why Brother Gu is looking for me? As long as it's something I can do, I will definitely do it." Everyone had their own agenda. However, Gu Hao did not beat around the bush in the slightest, because in his opinion, in front of powerful strength, all tricks were unnecessary. A half-step Dao Vindication martial artist was not someone Mo Wutian could contend against. Not to mention Wutian Mo, even if he teamed up with Judas, they still wouldn't be his match. Gu Hao was confident in his own strength. As for Evil Moon and the others, Gu Hao knew that if Evil Moon wanted to obtain the Dao Vindication Seed and Primordial Spirit, she wouldn't help Mo Wutian. As for the others, they wouldn't dare deal with him. Mo Wutian, I believe you know that Longao has a Chaos Relic in his possession. It's called the Chaos Mythological Beast Diagram. He nodded. Of course, Mo Wutian knew what Gu Hao wanted to say. He was furious, but under these circumstances, he didn't dare say anything. If Gu Hao made a move, he wouldn't be able to resist. According to the rumors, as long as you obtain the Chaos Mythological Beast Diagram and gather the 10 Chaos Mythological Beasts, you can unlock its true power. Gu Hao did not know much about the Primal Chaos Beast Diagram, but he really wanted to give it a try. Once he obtained the Primal Chaos Beast Diagram and gathered the 10 Great Primal Chaos Beast, after he confirmed his Dao, would he be able to help him kill the other martial warriors? In any case, once he obtained the diagram and gathered the 10 Chaos Mythological Beasts, he would be invincible in the same realm. There was no doubt about that. Under Dao Vindication, he couldn't be truly invincible. After all, he wasn't the only half-step Dao Vindication martial artist in the Chaos realm. Originally, he planned to kill Longao, wait for the Chaos Mythological Beast Diagram and the other 9 Chaos Mythological Beasts, then return to deal with Judas and Mo Wutian. But thinking about it, Gu Hao felt that something wasn't right. If Mo Wutian and Judas ran away, it wouldn't be easy to find them in the vast Chaos realm. To be safe, Gu Hao planned to deal with Judas and Mo Wutian first. He would subdue Judas first, and after killing Longao, he would be able to obtain the remaining 9 Chaos Mythological Beasts and the Chaos Mythological Beast Diagram. Until now, Gu Hao admired Longao's luck. Throughout the entire Chaos realm, Longao was the first person to be able to gather the 9 Chaos Mythological Beasts and obtain the Chaos Mythological Beast Diagram. But this way, he would be able to benefit himself. Mo Wutian, I believe you have already guessed my intentions. I want Judas to follow me in the future. As for you, you can also follow me. When I reach Dao Vindication, I will do my best to help you. How about it? Gu Hao didn't need Mo Wutian and Judas' help. As long as he could think of a way to deal with the Chaos Palace, then he wouldn't put a small Longao in his eyes. But under these circumstances, Gu Hao wasn't willing to make a move. If something unexpected happened and Longao ran away, then his strength would be exposed. Longao would probably go into hiding. Because of this, Gu Hao chose to be on the safe side. In the end, he chose to surrender instead of force. Brother Gu, Judas and I are as close as brothers. Waving his hand, Gu Hao didn't give Mo Wutian a chance to continue. Gu Hao seemed to be very impatient, but after thinking about it, he felt relieved. As a half-step Dao Vindication martial artist, if not for the special circumstances, How could he waste words with Mo Wutian? Mo Wutian, I can promise you that once you kill Longao, I will give you the evil ancestor's soul. How about it? The evil ancestor's soul? It would be a lie to say that he wasn't tempted. After all, the evil ancestor was a Tao vindication martial artist. Although the soul couldn't compare to a Tao vindication seed, and the chances of Tao vindication were higher, if he could devour the evil ancestor's soul, it would be of great benefit to his own Tao vindication. Gu Hao didn't continue speaking. Instead, he stared at Mo Wutian. Although he didn't want to make a move, if Mo Wutian insisted on not agreeing, he didn't mind killing him and using force to subdue Judas. Chapter 3308. Wutian didn't seem to care, but his heart was in turmoil. If he persisted, he wouldn't be able to leave Reincarnation Valley alive, much less obtain the Chaos Seed or Spirit. Did he really have to give up on Juin? Like a brother? Bullshit. As long as Wutian was given a chance to prove his Tao, it was hard to say whether or not he would give up on Juin. Mo Wutian was just not sure if Gu Hao would really give him the evil ancestor's primordial spirit when he killed Longao. What if he didn't? Even if Gu Hao and Dark Moon didn't give it to him, there was nothing he could do. He seemed to be able to guess what Wutian was thinking. At this moment, Dark Moon approached from a short distance away. Dark Moon, can we give the spirit to Wutian? How could Dark Moon not know what Gu Hao was thinking? If it were before, he wouldn't have agreed. He would have even attacked Gu Hao and killed him. But now the situation was different. Gu Hao was half a step away from proving his Tao, and his strength was far above his own. Ever since he'd revealed his strength, Gu Hao had gone from calling him Senior Dark Moon to calling him by name. This was the benefit of strength. Whoever was stronger had the right to speak. Even if he didn't want to, under these circumstances Dark Moon didn't want to provoke Gu Hao. Fortunately, Gu Hao only wanted the spirit, not the seed. Dark Moon had already thought it through. If he wanted the seed, he wouldn't hesitate even if he had to shed all pretense of cordiality with Gu Hao. No problem. Hearing the evil ancestor agree, Mo Wutian finally made up his mind. Juin was in the chaos of reincarnation, but in the face of death and the spirit of the evil progenitor, he chose to protect himself and take the spirit. When Wutian turned around, Juin already knew what his boss meant. His face was full of disbelief. Although he had been subdued by Mo Wutian back then, he had always treated Mo Wutian as his big brother and had never abandoned him. Juin never thought his boss would one day abandon him. Was this true? Juin didn't want to believe it, but the truth was right in front of him. Boss? Juin, we've been together for so many years. I won't harm you. Judas wanted to say something more, but he swallowed the words back down his throat. No matter what the reason was, boss had chosen to give up on him. It was really a sad thing to meet such a boss, but Judas knew what was going on. In a one-on-one fight, he couldn't beat any of them, let alone the fact that there was a half-step Tao validation martial artist in front of him. This time, it boded ill rather than well. After you follow Senior Gu Hao, you will not fall. Instead, you will help Senior Gu Hao open the Primal Chaos Divine Beast diagram. He didn't want to listen any longer. Judas suddenly burst into laughter. His laughter was filled with mockery and disdain. He'd seen shameless people before, but never this shameless. For so many years, he had been loyal and devoted to Mo Wutian. It could be said that the reason Mo Wutian was able to establish the Devil Palace and survive until now was all thanks to him. But now? Killing the donkey after it had outlived its usefulness. Wutian had faced death and the temptation of the vile progenitor's primordial spirit, and yet he had chosen to abandon Judas. If Judas hadn't experienced it himself, he wouldn't have believed it. Judas had already decided that as long as his boss didn't abandon him, what did it matter if he died? Wu Tianmo, you really are shameless. You betrayed me first, and now you're making it sound so righteous. Judas, you've gone too far. Wu Tianmo's face darkened. Since he'd decided to give Judas to Gu Hao, he wouldn't hesitate any longer. If Gu Hao wanted to deal with him, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Sacrificing Judas would not only save his own life, but also give him the vile progenitor's primordial spirit. That way, he'd have a chance to prove his Tao. Zhu Yin, you must remember this. Even though you didn't choose to submit back then, the people here are more than enough to kill you. Wu Tianmo regretted his decision. When Judas wanted to submit, he didn't agree. If he had, a single thought would be all it would take to get rid of Judas. There would be no need to waste words. But with Gu Hao and the others here, subduing Judas wouldn't be a difficult task. Wu Tianmo wanted to say something more, but Gu Hao waved his hand and smiled. Wu Tianmo, leave the rest to me. Your mission is complete, and I'll do what I promised you. Follow me from now on, and when I prove my Tao, I'll do everything in my power to help you. Thank you. Wu Tianmo didn't say anything more. He walked to the side, his meaning clear. With Gu Hao's help, Judas' fate was clear. But Wu Tianmo knew Gu Hao wouldn't kill him. After all, Gu Hao had subdued Judas because he wanted to gather the 10 chaos beasts and open the mythological beast diagram. Wu Tianmo couldn't bear it. After so many years of love, it would be a lie to say he didn't. But a wise man submits to circumstances, and he understood the situation. If Wu Tianmo truly cared about Judas, he would have backed out a long time ago. At the end of the day, Wu Tianmo wanted to get his hands on the essence spirit or the chaos seed. After all, proving one's Tao was something they could only dream of. Normally, proving one's Tao was almost impossible, unless they could get their hands on the seed or essence spirit. The moment he thought about how he was about to get his hands on the essence spirit of the evil ancestor, Wu Tianmo suppressed his displeasure. So what if Judas was lost? As long as he could prove his Tao, everything else was nothing. Judas didn't look at Wu Tianmo any longer. Since things had come to this, he and Wu Tianmo were done with. Glaring at Gu Hao and the others, he laughed coldly. Gu Hao, if you want to subdue me, I'll make you pay the price. Ha 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 ha. It wasn't just Gu Hao. Even Nangong Yin and the others were laughing maniacally. A mere chaos beast, even if it was one of the 10 chaos beasts, was a piece of cake for them. To them, the Judas couldn't deal any damage at all, unless they self-destructed their essence spirits. Gu Hao and Xie Yu naturally would not personally take action. Nangong Yin, the divine mathematician, and Mo Wutian were simply hired thugs. The 3 primal chaos reincarnation warriors joined hands and attacked the candle shade divine beast crazily. They wanted to end the battle quickly, as they did not want to waste any time. Fighting 1 against 3, in just a few minutes, Judas was starting to find it hard to hold on. Wounds were everywhere. Chapter 3309. If this continued, there was only one result, and that was Judas being forced to surrender. However, Judas had already decided to self-detonate at the last moment. He'd drag as many of them down with him as he could. Everyone knew what Judas was thinking. But knowing was one thing, and being able to stop it was another. After all, Judas' strength was clear for all to see. It was also because of this that Evil Moon and Gu Hao stood guard and acted personally. Gu Hao didn't care about Judas' life or death. What he cared about were the 10 chaos beasts and the beast diagram. If Judas chose to self-detonate, he wouldn't be able to summon the 10 chaos beasts and open the beast diagram. Let's end this quickly. Gu Hao was already impatient from waiting. Wu Tian and the others didn't dare say a word. Faced with a half-step vindication cultivator, their usual arrogance was nowhere to be found. The three of them increased the intensity of their attack. Poochie, Poochie, Poochie. Judas was struck repeatedly and forced to retreat. If this continued, the result was obvious. I will make you pay. Judas was preparing to self-detonate, and Evil Moon and Gu Hao were about to intervene. Suddenly, the situation changed. Don't resist. In the next second, the Juin Divine Beast's figure instantly disappeared without a trace. The faces of Gu Hao and the rest instantly darkened. They obviously knew what had happened. It had to be Longao's doing. They were so close to taming Judas, but Longao had taken advantage of them. How could they not be angry? But what could they do with anger? Gu Hao suppressed the anger in his heart. His face was gloomy. If it had been just one Judas, losing it wouldn't have been a big deal. After all, with his strength, he didn't think much of a single Chaos Beast. But things were different now. Longao himself had already obtained the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, and had gathered a total of 9 Chaos Divine Beasts. Once he gathered the last Judas, it was easy to imagine what it would be like. Silence. Exceptionally quiet. No one said anything because the Juin Divine Beast itself had already been given to Gu Hao, yet it was taken away right under everyone's noses. To Gu Hao, this was simply a great humiliation. Moreover, Longao had gathered 10 Chaos Divine Beasts. Once he activated the Chaos Divine Beasts diagram, who knew what kind of power he would unleash? Inside the chaotic Dantian, Longao suppressed the excitement in his heart and said, "How do you feel?" He had been trying to figure out a way to lure the others away so that he could forcefully tame the mythological beast. He never imagined that Wutian Mo would betray Judas and help him instead. It seemed like he still had to thank Mo Wutian and Gu Hao. If it weren't for Wutian Mo and the others, he wouldn't have been able to send Judas here so easily. Longao, I know what you mean. I only have one request. Help me kill the people outside and I will submit to you. Now is not the time. However, I believe you should know about the grudge between me and them. Judas knew he was telling the truth. He nodded and said, I believe in your character. Judas knew that if Longao's character was questionable, the other 9 Chaos Divine Beasts wouldn't have been so loyal to Longao. 1 was an accident, 2 could be an accident. Could 3, 4, or all of them be accident? Boss, now that the 10 of us are gathered together, there is no time to lose. We must activate the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Longao knew what Blackie meant. Even without Blackie's reminder, he was prepared to use the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts to activate the diagram. Longao removed the diagram from his robes and smiled. Judas doesn't know. Judas, I've already refined the diagram. My guess is that once I activate it, the 10 of you will be able to enter it and cultivate. You will have a chance to prove your Tao. Prove Tao? Judas was shocked to hear Longao's words. He knew what it meant to prove his Tao. Whether it was a divine beast or a human martial artist, so long as they failed to prove their Tao, it was a dream they could only dream of. It was because of this that Wutian Mo had betrayed him. Gu Hao had betrayed him. It would be a lie to say he didn't want to prove his Tao. Longao, can the Chaos Divine Beast diagram really help us prove our Tao? Longao nodded and smiled. It should be. But how long it will take you to prove your Tao is up to you. In addition to the Chaos Spiritual Beast diagram, Longao had already guessed that if there were no accidents, once the Primal Chaos Refining Tower gathered 23 types of heavenly flames, the 23 types of heavenly flames would also succeed in Tao validation. But he couldn't break the seal just yet. After all, the Conflagration Tower contained a seal left behind by a Tao-proven warrior. If he tried to break it, it would backfire on him. He might even suffer a backlash. Then there's no time to lose. Activate the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Judas knew there was only one way to get revenge and kill Wutian Mo, Gu Hao, and the others, and that was to prove their Tao. For them, proving their Tao was a distant dream. But now there was an opportunity before them. If what Longao said was true, and they could prove their Tao by opening the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, then they'd have a chance to get their revenge. Begin. The 10 Chaos Divine Beasts were the Sky Devouring Divine Beast, Jiu Ing Divine Beast, Zhu Yin Divine Beast, Pai Xiu Divine Beast, Qiu Nyo Divine Beast, Swanee Divine Beast, Sky Splitting Divine Beast, Golden Ni Divine Beast, Nine-Headed Dragon Python, and Tautai Divine Beast. The 10 Divine Beasts of Chaos surrounded the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, their faces solemn. According to Longao, if there was even the slightest mistake in activating the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, not only would it be impossible to open it, but it would also be destroyed. So they had to be extra careful. They couldn't afford to make the slightest mistake. Taking a deep breath, the 10 Divine Beasts of Chaos entered the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, one after another. In the blink of an eye, the 10 Divine Beasts of Chaos had all disappeared. Longao had already refined the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, so he could enter as well. This is the key to opening the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. The 10 of you, pour your essence blood and primordial spirit into it. Remember, you must maintain a balance. Don't let any imbalance occur. Understand? Understood, the 10 Divine Beasts of Chaos said in unison. Then, the 10 Divine Beasts of Chaos released their essence blood and primordial spirit. But they didn't dare to pour it in immediately. First, they tried to communicate with each other. They had to do it at the same time. There was only one chance to open the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.